Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations and welcome to you all. I must warn you, we may be having some interesting glitches and fun games and everything because I'm trying something new today. I've added a fourth camera to the mix. So we've got this camera here, hello, and then I've got this one here. It's like, hey, hello. And then I've got the old microscope here, which of course will be staring at something like the floor. And then I've got this one. There. Hey, how you going? Now, I have a few concerns about how well this computer is going to handle all of that video coming in. My CPUs are sitting on a lot at the moment. So we'll just see. We'll see. If worst comes to worst, I'll have to ditch the side camera. But it's a nice view to have for, you know, sort of in particular with the compact Macs when I'm setting them up and working on them. So quick hello to everyone here. I want to say howdy doody to Apples Anonymous. Jay from the House of Moth is here. Patrick M. Joe is here. Hello, Joe. Garth is here. SadMac356. Patrick is here. Trina is here. Sam, hello. Starbuck Tech, Retro Techie. Who else we got? Dave's here, hello. And Steve's here, hello. People seem to like the, what do you call that thing? Thumbnail. Alex is here. John Mortz. Jeff Barnard. Mike is here, hello Mike. Did I say hello to Sam? I'm not sure. If I didn't, Sam Johnson, the Mystery Margot is here. G'day, g'day. Joe Williams. Justin Morgan is here. Thomas Armstrong. Kate is here. Hello, Kate. And another Joe. Jared. Okay, I think I've got everyone. If I missed anyone, my apologies. Feel free to say hello again, and I'll try and get it the second time around. But Lucas is here. Hello. So anyhow, thank you to everyone for rocking up today. So as you can see, I was trying to drum up some viewers with the silly thumbnail, and I'm glad you did appreciate that. A quick shout out to Kate, not Macintosh Librarian Kate, another Kate that I met yesterday and picked up a Macintosh Classic from. So this Macintosh Classic was, Kate posted on one of the Australian vintage Mac groups and said, you know, I've got this Macintosh Classic. And just by a stroke of luck, I was actually driving straight past her suburb yesterday. I was heading up to the Blue Mountains here in Sydney for a lunchtime thing. And I was driving straight past her suburb. So I contacted her and I said, look, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I can swing by and grab it. So anyhow, that was, it worked out, you know, sort of very, you know, mutually beneficial. So, oh, hang on. Yep. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. So, and so anyhow, that was really good. Picked up a Macintosh Classic. Now she did try switching it on. I should have, of course, told her a little bit earlier, don't try switching it on. She said it made a noise, but nothing came up on the screen. So we know this thing isn't working. I am not going to power it up without opening it up because we all know what the potential is inside. Hello, Charlie. How's it going? Kai is here. Hello, Kai. Must be another late one for you, late Saturday night. So a quick little talk about the Classic. We'll just grab the Classic here and we'll try out this side view and we'll see how that goes with you looking at this beautiful Macintosh Classic there. Hello. So a few things about the Macintosh Classic. What do we like about it? It was Apple's, I think, first sub-$1,000 computer. So it actually opened it up to a whole range of people that were able to afford a Macintosh that were not able to afford a Macintosh before. So that's home users and education market. And this was the other thing, of course, the very important education market. Apple had a stronghold on the education market with their Apple IIe, you know, Apple II line of computers. I mean, both my parents were teachers, and my dad in particular, I remember him very much using the Apple IIe with some software called Motorized Markbook, which allowed him to do, you know, sort of, sort of keep track of marks in classrooms and all that sort of stuff, students' marks and all that sort of stuff. Now, they did actually move Motorized Markbook across to the Mac, but he was saying it was never as good as the original Apple IIe version. So yeah, they definitely had the education market. And this was a way that they could potentially get people to move across from the Apple II onto the Macintosh range. So, you know, again, they brought this out. I think it was $9.95, but I could be wrong. And I think that was the base version. I don't think it even had a hard drive in it. I think it was 1 megabyte of RAM with no hard drive. But then eventually, the base model still had a hard drive in it because, you know, we got to a point where, come on, need a hard drive. Okay, no, it has not been retro-brighted. This is, I guess, I just probably stored fairly well because this is as it is. This is it. No retro-brighting done. So anyhow, they're the things that we like about the Macintosh Classic. And in truth, it was the first Mac that my family owned because it brought the Mac into a price range that we could afford, and we were able to get one. And we ended up putting a little Warp 030 accelerator into it as well, which extended the life of it somewhat. So that's the Classic. Another thing we really like about the Macintosh Classic is, of course, it has an operating system in the ROMs. So if you hold down Option Command XO, which Joe mentioned before, you can actually boot into System 605, I think it is, and you can actually boot the computer without even having a hard drive, and or a floppy disk, which is just fantastic. If that system had SCSI probe in it as well, it would have been perfection. What do we don't like about the Classic? Well, really, from a power standpoint, you know, this is a step back from Apple. I mean, Apple had way more powerful computers, and then they sort of released this, and it was kind of like, you know, this is a 68000 chip, which has been around since the Lisa, and it's really starting to get a little bit tired. You know, the 020, the 030, they're out there now. And then we've got this situation where they kind of release this quite slow computer. So this thing was never a powerhouse. Yeah, the Classic can end up copying a lot of hate from people because of that. You know, that's not particularly powerful. You know, why would I want a Classic? The other thing we don't like about it, mentioned there by Steve, is the 4 megabyte RAM limit. That's as far as it can go, and that is it. 4 megs is it. So you just have to deal with that. Another thing we don't like about it is the fact that it has lots of problems in terms of its longevity. We're talking about the capacitor leakage. So we've got a lot of electrolytic capacitors on the analog board, which leak very badly, and they cause all sorts of problems. And then we've also got the logic board has surface mount electrolytic capacitors. They leak as well. And of course, the other really important thing is Apple made this with Torx screws. Not everyone has Torx screws. They didn't make this really user serviceable. And of course, there is a battery on the logic board. And if that logic board, you know, that battery can and will explode given enough time. And because this wasn't user serviceable and the owner had no access to the battery, people, if they stop using them, they put them away, the battery sits there and kapow, next thing you know, it's leaking alkaline out onto the board, eating away traces, destroying things, and that's kind of the downside. And that may well be what we find when we open this up. That's part of the adventure for today, is open it up and see what's inside. The other thing will be to see whether I can get this open just with my hands, because Classics, if they've never been opened before, can be unbelievably stubborn to open. Classic 2 replaced the SE30, a bad move. I couldn't agree with you more. The Classic 2 is not a replacement for the SE30, in my opinion. The SE30 is a far superior machine. So, Classic 2, fine. If you pick one up for cheap, great computer to have, nothing really wrong with them. But yeah, SE30 is far better. You know, the 128 megabytes of RAM. Wowzers. Okay, so just going to check on the chat here, see how we go here. 68,000 was released in the late 70s, wasn't it? I think it was. It was very, very expensive in the early days. Okay, Classic 2 is a nice form factor. Pretty much the same as this one here. They are interchangeable in terms of a lot of the parts in these. You can generally swap out the logic board. You can swap out the analog board with the Classic 2. There is only one is some of the earlier revisions of the Classic had a different yoke connector, and if you have one of those, then you won't be able to just swap an analog board around. But the later versions, the parts are just interchangeable within these things. I mean, I can drop a Classic 2 logic board in this, and it'll be a Classic 2, even though it says Classic on the front. He won't mind. Okay, cool. Jumps on a Mac for 45 minutes to get open. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to just, does this Mac currently function? That's a relevant question there from Jay, and he would know the answer to that if he had been here since the beginning of the stream. But I will forgive him. I will forgive him this one. I know he has responsibilities and whatnot. But no, this does not currently function. The owner of this, again, shout out to Kate. She switched it on. And it made a noise. She didn't elaborate on what the noise was. She said it made a noise, but the screen didn't come on. So we are considering this one dead. I am not going to attempt to power it up. That to me is just asking for trouble. So anyhow, let's open it up, and let's see what's inside. And that's what people have come here for. Enough of me, of my yapper. So we need I'm just going to change across here to the side view to see if this works. There we go, looking all right. It's not the best picture, but it's okay. I've got this very long T15 Torx driver. I actually just picked this up locally, but you can get ones very similar to this, I think, on Amazon and eBay. There is actually, I think, a link in the description of where you can find one like this. So did I not say T15? I think I said T15, but if I didn't say T15, that's what I meant. We've got 2 screws here on this particular computer. We've got 2 screws down in these holes here. We've got 2 here. If you were dealing with an old 128K, 512K or Mac Plus, there would be another one under here in the battery compartment. On the Macintosh Classic, this is not a battery compartment. This is access to some controls, like I think focus and horizontal width and horizontal height, vertical width and vertical height, all that sort of stuff for adjusting the display geometry. Okay. I hope they're as golden than their Macs. Yes. Yeah. I mean. Okay. So I'm going to take these ones out first. These are the little black ones. They are sort of they're designed to screw into metal, whereas the other ones are designed to screw into plastic. And this one's being very stubborn, so I'm going to grab a magnet to grab it with. Henceforth. Whoa. There we go. Always keep a few of these little strong magnets around because they're very handy for lifting screws out of things and whatnot. Okay, there's 2. And then we've got these ones down here. Now, if I do have trouble opening this up, I do have a few tricks that I can show for making life a little bit easier. Okay, so there we go. And I'll just tip this back, get those 2 screws out, let's plonk those there. Now, when it comes to opening these up, I have a particular method, I have a way of doing this, which works pretty well for me, but as I say, this could be a different story. This could make me look a damn fool. My method that I am always talking about, it may not actually end up working. So what I do is I generally put my great big fatty hand here, like that, and then I get all 4 fingers down the side here, and I give it a yank, like that, and it worked. Yes. Okay, then we can lift that up. I said we can lift that up. And okay, straight off I can see that this one has a 1 megabyte memory expansion, but it hasn't got any RAM sims in it. So it has the original 1 meg on the board, and then it has another 1 meg added to it. Now here's a really interesting thing. You do not see these very often. This is the non-hard drive version. So remember I mentioned to you that you could buy this as a base model with 1 megabyte of RAM and no hard drive. This is a no hard drive version, and you don't see those very often. So I'm going to spin this around. I'll show you that here's the floppy drive. Hard drive should be sitting on top of that in a bracket. And more importantly, on the logic board, I have this. So that there is a SCSI terminator that allows you to terminate the bus so that you can then connect an external hard drive to it if you want to. If you didn't have this on there, you would have termination issues when you connect it there, because normally you would have the bus terminated by the drive sitting in this bay. But because there is no drive there, this came with this little termination device. And this is actually one of the things that I intend to replicate, because these can actually be quite handy for testing and stuff like that. So, interesting here, we won't be looking at any sort of vintage data or anything on this one here, because no hard drive to speak of. So, so there we go. But of course, what I will intend to do with this is I will put probably a blue SCSI or a SCSI 2SD inside it. and make it so that someone can you know, can use it with a hard drive in it. So anyhow, I'm going to put this back on the board. So that's a really interesting one. That I did not expect. I have never ever opened up a floppy only version of one of these. Now here is the memory expansion. As I said, the board comes with 1 megabyte soldered on. So it has 1 megabyte standard without any form of expansion. And then you could pay for this, which is a 1 megabyte expansion there. And then you've got 2 empty slots. You can then fill those with ones, take it all the way up to the 4. Now this is not an Apple one. This is Electronic Technologies 1990. So now this, I don't know when, I mean, you know, it was obviously installed after 1990, but I don't know if this was, you know, it was installed as part of the, you know, sort of original configuration, maybe by the store they bought it from, or whether this was added in later on. So, but anyhow, you know, that's the board there. Worth mentioning that this is something that is being reverse engineered by Kai in the chat. As we all know, or if we don't know, you're about to. Kai is the mastermind behind the Classic Reloaded project, which is the recreation of the Macintosh Classic logic board, and he has also re-engineered, reverse engineered this, and is producing this as a board that you will then be able to use for memory expansion if you don't get hold of these anymore. So, all right, that's that. Let's undo the floppy connector, and then this is the power umbilical connector. So this connector here does two things. It supplies power to the logic board, but it also sends the video signal and the audio signal up to this analog board, which then come out the necessary bits and places and things and stuff and that. So, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, and that is to see what condition this logic board is in. Now, one thing I can tell you is when you have a really bad battery explosion, you're often going to see rust right along here. So the fact that we're not seeing rust along here is a really promising sign. I'm actually quite happy about that. It means that even if this battery has exploded, it hasn't necessarily had enough time to do really serious damage. All this chassis is still lovely and pristine and clean. So that's nice. Got the little 240 volt version here. Worth mentioning that the Macintosh SE and SE30, they had power supplies in them that would automatically switch from 110 to 240 volt, that sort of thing. So they had that. When they went to the Classic, they went back to like the way it was with the 128K, 512K and Mac Plus, and went back to a power supply that needed to be configured for the voltage of where it was going to be used. But thankfully, it's a pretty easy thing to switch backwards and forwards, and I've actually done that in a video. So let's whip this guy out. And we see a battery that is still intact. We're about to throw it away. So let's just pop this down. We'll have a bit of a look at this board. Out of the way, out of the way. Sorry, old man noises. Warranty void if removed, okay? So I've just voided the warranty. I'm really embarrassed about that. All right, so let's change the view here. Oh, by the way, have I mentioned to
smash that like button?
So here is a nice little top view of this board. I can probably zoom in a little bit, so just give me a moment here. You watch, I'll go zoom out first. It's like when you put, oh, yep, always. It's like when you put in, you know, the USB plug, you put it in the wrong way first, and then you put it in. No, you put it in the right way first, but you can't get it in. And then so you switch it around and then you realize that's the wrong way. And then you switch it around again and you get it the right way. It always takes 3 goes to get a USB plug in. All right, so here's the board. This is one of these. It's going. It is going. It's gone all lumpy. This one here, this is on its last legs. So we have saved, this is all, I don't know if you can actually see how kind of distorted this battery is. It's all blubbly around here as we're getting all lumps and there's little bits sticking up around here. So this is a battery that I would consider we have just saved this in the nick of time. So that's a really, really promising thing there. I'm very happy about that. Essentially looking at this, I consider that anything that is wrong with this computer is repairable. We're going to be able to fix it. So you put the battery under the microscope or put the board? Well, I'll start with the battery and show you. So, can you see the distortion here? Oh, no, you can't, because oh no, camera issues. Just hang on a sec. See if I can sort this out. Remember I mentioned this. I mentioned right at the beginning that I'm connected with 4 cameras today, which I don't normally do, and I am 100% expecting technical faults associated with it. So, all right. So let's just continue. So this is the battery here under the microscope. It's got 91. I assume that is the manufacture date. And here you can see that see how it's getting all lumpy here? It's all starting to bulge up in places. So, and then you can see it, just a little smidgen of corrosion on the end there. So, you know, this guy was going. This guy was letting everyone know. He was in his death throes. He was actually saying, guys, I'm just about gone. And let's just check and see how much of those nice little volties we have in him. Wow. How cool's that? Hang on, just let me do this. Okay, so I do believe that I am streaming, but I believe my picture is just insanely weird. So go to top view, okay. Then we go to that view, and then I'm going to do this. I can fix this. We have the technology. We can fix this. We go like this. Bang. See that? Magic. Phew. Okay, so anyhow, just letting everyone know that we will not be seeing the side view anymore. So, I do apologise for everyone for that slight little glitch in the matrix that we had there. That was basically my Mac Mini just having a conniption. So let's just make sure we've got the microscope sorted. I'll just do that now because we will need him, but I think that'll be it for the side view for this stream. We might try it at the end just to see what happens, just in case. But yeah, that's called the 4 camera limit. That's what you get for trying to do interesting things. All right, so let's go back here. I'm going to go back to the microscope, and we are going to have a look at the board itself and see how it looks. So we have this little row of 4 capacitors here, and this looks like some form of animal droppings, creature droppings. I don't know what sort of creature, but it definitely looks like droppings. And we have got electrolyte leakage just here. You can see there's some gunge. This is Kai. This is not the Core i7 Mini you sent me, but it is another Core i7 Mini. So just to tell you, this one here, the spec of this one is a 2.6 gigahertz Intel Core i7, 16 gigs of RAM. But of course, they have pretty lousy graphics on them. So anyhow, yes, that was it, getting a little bit upset with me just throwing too many cameras at it. Okay, measure the battery, that's right. I was right in the middle of measuring the battery when we had technical glitches. So, back to top view. How do I measure the battery? I measure it with a multimeter. Now, if you don't have a multimeter, may I recommend you go and get yourself one of these, Kaiweets KM601. It looks incredibly flash, but this is a budget model. This is one that doesn't cost too much money. There are links in the description where you can buy this, so check it out. I'm absolutely loving this thing. I just love using it. It's just so cool. Okay, so we're going to put this onto our DC voltages. There we go, DC voltages. Look at that lovely big colour screen, hey? How cool is it? Then we will pop this onto the Negatoro, then onto the Positivo, and we will get precisely Zip. This one has no volts in it whatsoever. So, and this is one of the reasons why these things end up exploding. Once they have no power in them anymore, the chemical makeup inside them changes. I'm not a chemist science person-y thing, so I can't tell you the exact details, but essentially the electricity you get from a battery like this is caused by a chemical reaction, and once the voltage is all gone, the chemical makeup inside them changes, and that's what then ends up causing them to go. So this one is all ready to go. So yeah, anyhow, there it is. And worth mentioning that they don't sometimes just go, you know, sometimes they really go and just blow stuff all over the board. You know, you can end up with little bits of battery gunk just splattered all over the place. So we are now going back to, can it zero the probe's resistance? Yes, I think it can. So anyhow, this is, sorry, I'm just looking at some of these discussions are actually between you guys on there, and they're not meant for me at all. So I'm just checking to make sure I don't miss out anything. Okay, all right. So we're going to jump across now to the microscope view, and we are going to just have a look at what's going on here in terms of the way it looks. We've got some sort of little, what is that? It's some sort of larvae thing. So I've had something living in it there. Now we've got over here, we have a couple of electrolytic capacitors, and as you can see from this, it's just Leak Street. Look at that. There's all the gunk there. Right here, this chip, very easy to tell which chip this is. Not just because it actually says right there, sound, but also because it's like the only PLCC chip shaped like that. And you'll find that same sound chip on the Macintosh Portable, on a 2SI, I think a 2CI as well. So yeah, this little sound chip you'll find in several places. And look at all the gunk around here. All that gunk that's leaked out of these two caps here. All here. Yuck. Look it. Look it. And this is why these things don't work. Because the really important thing is that this gunk that we're looking at here is electrolyte. And that is conductive. So when that stuff leaks along here, it can end up creating shorts all over the board. And that's why the thing doesn't end up working. So has to be sorted out, has to be cleaned. So this here will be recapped, and it's going to be ultrasonically cleaned. Now, because the Macintosh Classic is not a big recapping job, I think we'll probably go ahead and do that now. Just going to have a quick look here around the battery. See, you can actually see there's the start of some corrosion right there. See how that's green? That is not meant to be green. Green is not your friend. Well, this sort of green anyway. I mean, this sort of green here, that's fine. That's more of a yellow though, isn't it? So yeah, so anyhow, that we can actually see that we're on the way, and here as well, there's some corrosion going on there. All needs to be cleaned off. So that'll all get cleaned up in the ultrasonic, so no problem there. There we go, there we go. So anyhow, and we've got the ROM here, which is just designed to frustrate people because it is a, what is it, a 40, wait, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's a 40-pin chip in a 42-pin socket, and it's just designed that way to confuse us. So anyhow, all good. And there's our little crystal. There's a little crystal there, crystal oscillator. And we've got our RAM there. They're probably, I don't know, I could be wrong, but they're probably MUX chips or something for the RAM. I could be wrong though. Here's your ADB chip. Look at that, hello there. So interesting thing is these chips here are still available. You can still get hold of these. This is the 342S0440B. They are essentially exactly the same as the ADB chip on an SE, Macintosh SE, except the SE is in a dip package. So it's, you know, the long sort of dip package. And Kai, again, got to mention Kai, he created an adapter to allow you to use this chip on an old SE, which I have already done. I've used one for a customer's board, so which is good. Okay, so all right. Well, I think we'll get into the recapping, right? How about that? So as usual, going to get my little heat shields here. I'll probably get a little bit of Kapton tape as well, and put that. Just going to get that tape and put it here just to protect this plastic connector. Like that. And then I will get myself a nice big heat shield, which is just I mean, people who may not have seen my streams before, it's just a blade from one of these that I just snap into different lengths. Works as a really good heat shield, and just plonk that in there. If I have trouble with them staying up, if they're falling over all the time, I then grab a little spring like this, just one of these sort of springy, and then I do it like that, and that allows it to stand up all on its own. So we just plonk that there, all ready for removing these caps. Going to hit that with some hot air and just knock these caps off one at a time. For people out there who say, why don't you just twist and pull them off like other people do? I never do that. I don't do that. You can do that if you want. I don't do that. I have had too many boards come to me with damage from that. Yes, you might get it to work 9 times out of 10, but that one time you're going to pull a pad, and I don't want to pull a pad. So you might even get it working, I don't know, 90 out of 100, but that's still 10 pads you pull. So let's just jump across to the microscope view. Here we go, and just checking the chat, make sure I haven't... oh, thank you very much, Jay, for posting that. So Jay from the House of Moth has just posted a link to my website with the recapping guides. Just worth mentioning, the Quadra 610 got added to that yesterday. So anyone out there who's wanting to recap a 610, it's there. 610, Quadra 610, I quite like them, though a lot of people don't. They cop a lot of hate from people, but I do quite like the 610. The only thing I don't like about them is trying to switch it on with the case off. If you're trying to do it with your finger, I've got big fat fingers, it's very, very difficult to do. Kind of need a pen around to poke in there. All right, got some hot air here. Got my hot air station set on around about 435 degrees C, and I've got this set on its highest air output setting, so it's punching out that air big time. And this is going to stink. It's going to be really rank. Just warning my nostrils. Look out. It's going to be bad. The truth is, so we just had a popper. The truth is that this board is actually in really good condition under the circumstances. Mind you, I suspect every single one of these caps is going to blow up right in my face. Yep, there we go. 3 for 3. Let's see if we can get this fourth one to pop as well. Woo! There we go. Yep, so we got 4 poppers. Get off, thank you. So what I often see with these classics, I see a lot of corroded traces around here. The fact that we haven't got that here means that we did get to this in the nick of time. You know, it really wouldn't have taken much more time, and this would have started looking really, really bad. So, yes, the board is in great shape. It is in very good condition. I mean, this yes, it does need time in the ultrasonic cleaner to get rid of all this gunk. Yes, we do need to clean up all those pads, but you know, this, I mean, you really couldn't ask for more for a Macintosh Classic. You don't know that until you open it up, but you know, this, you know, I've got lucky with this one. I really have, and of course, I feel like I've earned it because I've had plenty of bad luck with these as well. Okay, we've got our little real-time clock oscillator there, which I think it's that one. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it oscillates at a frequency of Joe. The frequency of the real-time clock oscillator is Joe. Let's get these off. So I'm going to just probably get a little bit of Kapton tape here on the serial number. I've remembered extra special resistance. But I just never remember the clock speed of the real-time clock. It's like 32.768. Thank you, Joe. Equivalent series resistance, by the way, that is the word. I was being silly when I said extra special resistance. For anyone who hasn't seen my videos, I had a lot of trouble committing equivalent series resistance to my memory. When you're testing capacitors in the circuit, so in other words, if you're not removing the capacitors and you're testing them while they're still on the board, you can't use the capacitance testing of a multimeter. It just won't work. You've got to take the cap out. But you can still test a capacitor in circuit by using an ESR meter, which is equivalent series resistance, and it will report on the state of that capacitor. And yeah, very handy, very handy. Okay, so we've got 2 more caps to get off here. I'd love to try and devise a way of installing a blue SCSI inside a Classic and making the SD card accessible from the outside. Ah! Another one. I really would like to be able to do that. I've done it with the Macintosh SE and SE30. The SE and SE30 have an expansion slot at the back, and assuming that slot is not taken, I've designed a bracket that connects onto the back there and allows you to have your little your blue SCSI in there and the SD card accessible from the back of the machine. So, but I would love to be able to do that with a Classic as well somehow. I don't know how. I mean, I was thinking maybe I could devise something through these little air holes or something, but I don't know. I just don't know I'd be able to get it to stick out far enough. Maybe something worth thinking about for the future. Right, that's all the caps off. We're still in pretty good nick by the looks of it. So we now move on to the cleaning phase. Has a hole from the Kingston lock port. Yeah, that's a thought. I like that one, Kate. That's the hole just down here. I'll just change the view. Oh, I'm banging the microphone. Sorry, that would have sounded terrible. So yeah, we've got this little guy here. I think because it has little bits of plastic sticking through onto the other side, I'd have to snap those bits of plastic off because I don't think I'd be able to get the blue SCSI close enough to the edge of the chassis. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still just need to give it some thought, I guess. I mean, I might find some way. I really don't want to have to cut into the case. I'd really like to be able to do it with keeping the case totally pristine. Signatures! Rare! Steve Jobs! No, it has no signatures. The Classic has no signatures. But just for anyone out there who might have a 128K, 512K plus, I think they did it for some of the SE30s. They might have done it for the SE as well. I can't remember. There are signatures molded into the case, and it does not make your computer especially rare because they had it. They all had it. So, yeah, just letting people know. Right, let's get into the cleaning phase. So I bought myself some new flux recently. I bought 3 more tubes of this. This is the Amtech. The flux that I use is the Amtech NC559V2TF, which is a fine, very, very fine flux. And I cannot forget. Here it is. Here's the other tube. But what I find really curious about this is this new batch is a very different color to the old batch. I'm not sure why that is the case. I mean, I'm sure it'll still be fine. I bought it from the authorized reseller. So yeah, I'll just change to the top view here and see if you can see the difference in color there. See, the one on the left is more of an orange color. So it will focus eventually. I said it will focus eventually. Come on, you focus. There we go. So yeah, as you can see, it's sort of a whiter color here and it's more of a yellow color here. So I don't know what the story is there, but anyhow, I hope it's all okay. But anyhow, we'll still continue with this. I go through a lot of flux, so I have to always Have plenty of it on hand. Bill Gates on the inside. Ooh. Oops, got a bit of fluff on the end of the flux there. Flux fluff. Got to be really careful saying the word flux quickly. I've fudged it a few times on my live streams. And I've ended up saying a word I didn't mean to. That may or may not have some nasty connotations. Oh, there is smoke blowing into my face. What does that mean? That means I forgot to turn on my fume extractor. Just a reminder to everyone that smoke coming off, it is not lead. I am using leaded solder, but at this temperature, lead doesn't become gaseous. That is the flux burning away. Still not good to inhale it though. So, and you can see when I got that fume extractor on, the smoke start going in a different direction. Now, these pads are really not going to take much to clean them up. I just see how the flux is not sticking on these corners. I just need to clean it up to a point where it does, until the whole pad is happy to take on flux. And I just do that here with fresh solder, bit of flux, a little bit of rubbing, and the heat. Get rid of that solder ball. Solder balls can be dangerous, because they can get stuck in places you don't want them to stick, and the next you know your computer doesn't work. Right, that's those looking good. Now we're going to get some, it's my multimeter switching itself off. Going to get some solder wick. I use Goodwick. There are links to it in the description. You can buy this on Amazon, you can buy it on eBay. I buy it from my local electronics store. And this is basically just braided copper with a bit of flux in it, and it is designed to draw solder into it. And that's what we're doing now. I've put all that new solder down, and I want to now take it all off. And if you're saying, why would you put it there if you're just going to take it off again? It's because I was using it to clean. So the solder was being used as part of the cleaning process, and now I want to remove it, and then we will put fresh solder on when we're actually ready to attach the components. Just going to undo this a bit because it's hurting my nose. There we go. There we go. That's better, much smoother. Okay, so as you can see, these pads are just coming up looking like new. I'm going to get some, get a little Q-tip here with some isopropyl alcohol on it, and give that a bit of a rub. Rub-a-dub-dub. Beep. That's my multimeter switching itself off. As you can see, I've taken off a little bit of the UV mask here, and I'll probably put a little bit of new mask on that because I don't like having that copper exposed. I'll be worried about accidentally getting some solder on that and creating a bridge where it shouldn't be. It's worth mentioning that the Classic has really, really lousy solder mask on it. You compare it to some of the earlier computers where it's quite a thick layer. It really doesn't take much to scrape the mask off the top of these traces. So, yeah. And I'll just give that chip a little bit of a scrub that had all of that electrolyte floating around in it, because we want to get that out of the way as well. Let's keep cleaning, and then we'll do some masking, and then we'll do some capacitoring. Should really mention to people that the price of capacitors are going nuts at the moment. As I've mentioned on my live streams before, tantalum is quite a rare mineral, and there can be shortages in it. But I think the situation we have at the moment, again related to the sort of the pandemic side of things, where we've had the silicon shortage, it is just extending to all sorts of different components. There are chips that I simply cannot get at the moment. The last time I bought capacitors, I had absolutely no trouble buying them. Then I went on to I think it was DigiKey I bought them from, went on exactly the same capacitors to buy again, not there. Now I haven't exhausted all avenues yet. I still do have other places I can get caps from, but it's getting quite worrying at the moment, because there will reach a point, if I cannot get these caps, I can't recap, and that will just be the end of that until we can start getting supply again. Very, very frustrating. What's happened, Justin? Justin, what's happened, Justin? Oh, back to doing my taxes, yeah. We all love that, don't we? It's one of my favourite jobs. It's amazing how many jobs I hate doing, I manage to get done instead of actually doing my taxes when I need to. Anyone else been in that situation where you're sort of sitting there with a job that you really don't want to do, and then you find yourself doing other things that you don't want to do, but not quite as much as like doing your taxes? And so it's like you might be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna clean around behind the toilet, you know, because I don't want to do my taxes. Oh dear. Anyhow, it's life. The art of procrastination. Okay. Oh. What's that all about? What? Thank you, Kai, for that kind offer. I don't actually need any at the moment, and I have actually just, you know, I as I mentioned, I haven't exhausted all avenues yet. If I get stuck, yes, you may well hear from me, but for the moment, I think I'm all right. But thank you very much for the offer. So once again, just getting rid of all of the old solder, getting all these pads clean. When I'm using this the solder wick, it's serving two purposes. It's sucking away all that solder, but the other thing it's also doing is the roughness helps me sort of scrape these pads and get them a little bit cleaner. I just got a little alert here that I believe Mr. Garth Beagle may have super chat. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it, and I'm glad you do enjoy the videos that I share. What I really like to do is I like to share knowledge. Simple as that. If I have any knowledge that I think might be of benefit to someone, I just want to share it. If I'm even happy to share the stuff that's useless. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more, and then we're good to go. These really are a nice, quick and easy recapping job. Not like a bloody Classic 2. They've got caps all over them. Crazy. And for anyone who has never recapped it before, let me tell you that when you're dealing with a board with leakage like this, you get to discover all sorts of exciting smells as you burn away that leaked electrolyte. Anyone here who has done recapping knows exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. Just checking the chat, making sure there isn't anything I need to address with any level of urgency. One of the really, really dumb things about this software I use, I should actually send them a little, you know, a message about this because it's kind of silly. I see the chat. They have the chat here, just there. But they don't highlight the ones where someone's gone at Brankus Creations. I only notice that they're highlighted because I've got the chat of the actual YouTube chat open in Chrome or Safari or something underneath this, and it's got a transparent window, so I see the big glowy thing moving up and I think, oh, someone's tried to message me directly. Stupid. So stupid. A quick shout out to Dana of Dana Doesn't Do Stuff. Actually, Dana Siberia. Hello, Dana. I did love that comment that someone made where they posted one of your pics and said, is this real or is this some sort of joke? And then you replied with, I'm pretty sure it's real, or something like that. I just love it. That is so awesome. So anyhow, I just want a quick shout out to the other Dana. Dana Does Stuff, who really doesn't really do stuff. He apparently got a haul of vintage computers, and I think he's going to live stream it at some stage. I would love to be able to say it'll be after this, but I don't know. I honestly don't know when it's going to be. But he is, I believe, going to live stream. So if anyone hasn't done it, jump onto Dana Does Stuff. There would have been no point in subscribing before because he didn't do anything. But jump onto Dana Does Stuff, his channel, subscribe, because he is apparently going to be doing a live stream soon showing us some of this awesome vintage stuff that he's picked up. Had an O1 call. What's an O1 call? I don't know what an O1 call is. But anyhow, that's irrelevant. What did you miss? I think the last comment I saw from you was about checking the voltage of the battery. So we looked at the battery. It was pretty bad. The board itself is in incredibly good condition. I've removed all the caps. I've cleaned it all up. This is one of the best looking classic boards I have seen. So we're good there. I need to just do a little bit of UV masking now, and then we'll put new caps on it, and then we'll give it a try. The analog board will need recapping, but I'm just curious to try it without recapping the analog board first and just see if we get anything. Where are my tissues? Tissues. Hello, tissues. They used to be here, and they probably still are here, but just under things. Yep, here they are. So I just use the tissues to try and get as much gunk off before I put UV mask down. The thing is that UV mask, it won't adhere properly if it ends up sticking to old electrolyte or old flux or something like that. So I've got to give this a really good wipe like this, and just get all the gunk off so that when I put the UV mask down, it's going to stick beautifully. Oh, a phone call. Okay, fair enough. That's all right. Yeah, there you go. I thought it might have been some sort of American term that people give to. It's like, oh, it's an O1 call, you know? It's like, I don't know, it's from a long lost uncle or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, phone call. That makes sense. Speaking of typing at you through a Next keyboard just because it's a few levels of cool and makes me feel like I'm doing science. Yep, I'm very envious. Super jelly, because I don't have anything Next, but boy, I would. Actually, no, that's not true. I have a genuine, absolutely genuine, 100% genuine Next pencil. So it's a pencil with the Next logo on it, and that is a genuine Next pencil. So, you know, that gives me a fair bit of cred. So where I'm painting here, I'm painting these traces that kind of live very close to a pad. And I do that because, as I mentioned, these are very thin, there's very thin UV mask on this. And when I put tantalum caps on this, the pads on the tantalum caps hang over the edge of these metal pads, so there is that risk that that one of those pads may actually touch one of these traces, and so I just want to make sure they're well coated here so I don't accidentally create any shorts or long pants. I don't care about painting over here because that's actually part of the same pad. So if it touches that, it's fine. It's the touching the other things. And anyone who might be saying, hey, that's this green stuff you're painting on there. What's going to happen with that? I am going to dry it using a UV laser. Okay, don't want the stuff on too thick because then you have trouble drying it, but don't want it too thin either because then you won't have its desired effect. And there are three different ways you can dry this really. You can dry it with like a UV laser, you can dry it with a UV light, or you can just dry it out in the sun. It's not particularly sunny here today, it's very cloudy. So I have this little UV light here, and this is the one I use if I'm wanting to dry large areas, because this dries a little bit slower, but it shines on wider areas. So then if I've got a whole stack of the board that needs drying, I use that. When I've got little areas like this that I need to dry, I use this little laser, which gives a very, very strong, emits a very, very powerful bit of UV, but just in a very small area. So just going to do that now. Let's not send 12 volts to this, it won't like that. I've got a review coming up soon. I'm going to be reviewing a new bench power supply. This is what I'm using. I'm actually powering this laser using a bench power supply, and I've got Kai Wheat sent me one to review, so that's coming up soon. I might even get to record some of that this afternoon. So, 1-bit fever dreams. Sorry, that's not 8. 1-bit fever dreams. The laser, thankfully, the laser and the UV mask are not particularly expensive. You can pick these up on eBay and Amazon usually for only a few dollars. Now, of course, it's very easy for me to say that. I don't know what your budget situation is, but you know, the lasers and the you can set yourself up with a laser and some mask for probably less than $20, I would think. And yeah, I'm still on my first tube. It just lasts donkey's years. All right, so this is my laser now shining, going pew-pew. You can see it there, it's that blue thing. Just what I would recommend to anyone here. Don't shine a UV laser directly into a webcam. Don't ask me how I know that. It's not good for it, so yeah, just don't do it. You set it for the load you're predicting rather than just fixed current voltage. So yeah, I mean, generally, the way this one works is you just set a maximum current. So, you know, once it reaches that current, it'll just cap it. So I can set it up to the maximum current, which I think 5.2 amps is the most it'll go to. At the moment, this is drawing about 0.2 amps, this laser that is. But I can actually limit that current if I want. So I can go in and I can tell it, don't output any more than this particular current. And that's very handy if you're using your bench power supply for finding shorts to ground on a board. Because typically what you would do is you will get the power supply and you'll connect it to a circuit board, and then you'll just feed in some voltage with the current limited a little bit, and then you just try and find things that are getting hot on the board. And if they're getting hot, then they're probably the component that's causing the short to ground. It's very rewarding when you do that, by the way, I must mention. I've got 2 supplies here. I will now have a third because I've got the Kai Wheat's one that I need to review. The second one I've got here, it's just a little cheapy. It doesn't output much, but having 2 supplies is very handy at times. But I hate the controls on this little one. On the big one, I can deal with the controls. It's still not perfect, but that's one of the things I'm going to be reviewing on the Kai Wheat's one, because I'm very finicky about controls on things. I sort of feel like, you know, you buy this device, you want to make it so that it's easy to use. Okay, what does the laser do, Thomas B? The laser, yes, exactly what Patrick said. It is curing this mask. So this was a liquid. But now if I tap it, it is now a solid. And that's because it has been cured. So it's essentially like, you know, I mean, it's like curing a glue sort of thing, but you're able to do it very, very quickly. So, you know, this goes on as a liquid. I hit it with the laser, it goes solid, and then I can continue working. I don't have to sit and wait for a curing time. See, for example, what you could use for this, you could use a bit of nail polish. It's quite good, you know, like an enamel that just goes really rock hard. Work quite well, but you've got to then sit and wait for that nail polish to dry. And then there are other things. There are clear conformal coatings that you can get. I've got those, but they dry with heat, so I've got to potentially go and put the board in the oven and wait for the thing to dry. Whereas this stuff here, I can get this dry within a few minutes, and then we can continue and get going with the rest of the board. UV bacon. Ron is here. Did I say hello to Ron? I don't think I did say hello to Ron. Hello, Ron. I've been watching Ron's Wordle posts on Facebook. Ron likes to post his results of Wordle, and I did notice that was it yesterday's one? He didn't get it. It's like, what? Disaster. I should mention, seeing as we've had Joe and Ron here in the chat, I should mention Macintosh. For anyone who doesn't know, it's basically it's an annual thing. This one will be the second, where we encourage people to, you know, post a bit of content associated with Macintosh in March. So it's sort of like an awareness month. So March is Macintosh Awareness Month, and we want to see content of people doing interesting things with Macs, or restoring or repairing or whatever. I will be releasing a video for Macintosh. It is a collaboration video. There will be a guest in that video, and that guest has been known to make me laugh quite a lot. And it's going to be a video dealing with recaps that don't work out the way you want. So, now, am I even going to be able to pronounce this? Hot Turd Dog Net Blog. Hello, new subscriber. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate it. Hotturd.net. I'm not sure how that's meant to be pronounced, but I apologise. I apologise for not being able to pronounce it. Right, well, I think we're probably all dry now. I'm going to just check that. Bit of the smear. Yeah, we're all good. That's not going anywhere. So that's all good to go. Let's check the other ones to see whether we need to do any. Oh yeah, we're going to need to do some masking here. So let's just do that one as well. Macintosh 2022. Let's get that hashtag happening. I didn't do it for this one because it's not March yet. Can't do it yet. It'll be trouble. It'll be trouble if I start. How Peter? Haupter? How or Haupter? Haupter? I'm still having trouble. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. Not P, so Haupter. Haupter? Is that right? We'll get it. It's German. Oh, of course, yes, because Jay speaks German, doesn't he? Right. Okay, so I think we're all good. Haupter. It'll do. I hope it'll do. I do not wish to cause offence. But anyhow, the point of it is, thank you very much for joining, and I'm glad you're enjoying the content. If I have insulted you, it was not my intent. But isn't it funny how I managed to do that anyway? What on earth did I do with the brush? I mean, I haven't gone anywhere, so it has to be within arm's reach. Oh, here it is. Look, okay, so can I tell you what my starter words are for Wordle? And I'll tell you the reason why. So anyone who's not aware of this, Wordle, it's up on what do you call it? New York Times or something. New York Times, and it's a daily quiz that you can jump online and do it. And the idea is that you have, was it 6 goes to guess a word? You type in a word, it tells you if you've got the right characters. If you've got the right letters, but in the wrong place, they appear orange. If you've got the right letters in the right place, they appear green. And if they're wrong, they're grey. And then you have to just keep guessing until you find the word that they want you to guess. And what I have done is I've done a bit of an analysis of about 5,500 5-letter words and done character counts. And what I found the most common letters are, so the 2 starter words I use, I start off with arose, A-R-O-S-E. That will get you 3 vowels. 3 vowels already, and R and S, which of course are very, very commonly used words. And then the next one I do is until. So that'll get you and I. So you now got all your vowels done, and T and L are also N is very popular as well, N, T and L. So arose, until, and then go from there. Doesn't always work, but it works a lot. It also helps to actually know quite a lot of 5-letter words. I'm just going to say it. It's going to come out and say it. Helps to know quite a lot of 5-letter words. Master clock. Ooh. Would someone make Wordle as a classic Mac game in black and white that runs in System 4? Well, I can't really help you with that. I can probably get it running maybe in System 6, but I don't know if I can go right back to System 4. I just don't even know I had any sort of development environment for 4. So, yeah. Just going to quickly check some stuff here while I'm managing to miss the UV mask. I'm just checking my little group chat here, and it was everyone letting me know that the stream had died when it died before, which of course I can actually tell because I do see what's getting streamed. So I did know it was actually dying. Oh, joys of 4 cameras. System 6 would be fine, I guess. Was thinking more for the 128K and 512K owners. Yeah. I mean, I've got a 512K that I can test on. Well, it's a 512K-E, anyway. There is a bit of I had a difficult one the other day on there because there was a word, I think it was favour. And of course, here in Australia and in the UK, we spell it F-A-V-O-U-R, and it was F-A-V-O-R. So favour isn't even a 5-letter word in UK, Australian English. So I still got it, but it does add a challenging component to it when the word that is selected is that it's not how I spell it. Okay, well I think that's it. I think we've got UV there. I'm not fussed about that one. That's right in the middle. Okay, let's get some caps on this sucker. Oh, I put all my caps away. What a pain. I'm going to climb up here and get them. Right, there we go. Phew. Now, I have a recapping guide here, and you will find this recapping guide on recapamac.com.au. And it doesn't need much viewing because I think there's only 2 different types of cap. I think there's like one microfarad 50 volt, and then the rest are all 4716s. But I will have a look. Thank you, Jay, for posting that again. Just mentioning again, anyone who might have missed it, I just recently had the Quadra 610. I think the only thing I've got to add to it that I haven't yet is the Macintosh TV. I have a recapping guide for that. It's not up there. I upload the ones that I've had access to. I don't get access to all of them. Yeah, okay. 1 microfarad 50, 7 4716. So that's all nice and easy. So we'll start off with the little guy. Here's the little guy. Little guy. Let's have a look-see at that. So this is the cap here, 1 microfarad 50 volt. Yay. Isn't it cute? Tantalum capacitor. Tweezers. There we go. And he is going to go right here. So get a little bit of flux on there. The tantalum capacitors have a stripe on the positive side, just designed to confuse us because electrolytics have a stripe on the negative side. So I don't know whose idea that was to change it around. Bing, 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 bing. Really like to get these as straight as I can, because if you don't, you look at your board later on, you look down and you see a crooked cap and you go, So get it right the first time, spend a bit of time making it look fine. There we go. There is one little cap on there. Oh, look at this. I've got a super sticker from Mike. A pile of poop with a face. This software doesn't actually, or can't, for whatever reason, put the icons up there, so it just describes them. So today I've got a pile of poop with a face. Thank you for a pile of poop with a face. Mike, that is much appreciated. I find that rather comical. Okay, now we have 747 microfarads 16. I've still got quite a few, but boy, this get burned up pretty quickly. I've got a lot of boards here to recap at the moment. 2, 3, 4. It's 3. I said 4. I can't even count anymore. 4, 5, 6, 7. There may or may not be 7 there. We'll find out in a minute. All right, let's put that there. Ben Franklin decided a tent on cap stripe. Did you watch Steve's Newton recap? No, I didn't, and I'll tell you why I didn't. He did that while I was asleep. I've got time zone issues. I woke up this morning, saw his post in our little group chat. He said, you know, I'm streaming early today. I clicked on the link, and it was all over by the time I woke up this morning. I will probably go in and watch it. I've got a bit of catching up to do. Dan from Canadian Computer Collector apparently released a really funny video today. I really want to watch that. But I'll just see how I go for time. I've got to do some pre-recorded stuff today. I've got a few videos that I'm working on, and if I don't get this pre-recorded stuff out, my channel popularity wanes. You can't be having that. So I've got to get some of this this pre-recorded content out. It's just very time consuming. Now, I've mentioned this in my live streams before. I have time to do kind of 2 out of 3 of the things I'm doing at the moment. So I have time for my day job. I have time for my YouTube channel, but I don't really have time to do all the recapping that I get. But the recapping I get feeds the content of the channel. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a catch-22. I've got no choice but to do the recapping. But in truth, I don't actually have enough hours in the day to do all these things. If, and this is a big if I win a very large and substantial amount of money in some game of chance, and I never need to do my day job again, then I might be able to just live stream. I'll dedicate everything to the YouTube channel and to the recapping. But so far, I have not yet won a large sum of money in a game of chance. And when I say large sum of money, I mean like, you know, over $1 million sort of thing. One day. Scarlet Swordfish, hello, thank you for joining. Is there anyone else I've missed? Well, there's a lot of languagey stuff going here, my apology. You live in Sydney now. How about that? So do I. Which part of Sydney are you in? Kind of hard to get this one straight because it's got that UV mask underneath it. It's making it wobble and rock and things. I think I've just been bitten by a mosquito. Come on. Exactly your plan too, Steve, yes. And the truth is, I absolutely love doing this stuff for the YouTube channel. I love doing the recordings. I love creating content. I love editing. I mean, I love everything about that. But, you know, despite what people might think, it is not a significant source of income when you only have whatever I have, 23,000 subscribers, something like that. There is money, but there's just not much. Devalis, hello. I'm currently recapping my SE power supply while watching. Excellent. Yes, I've done a couple of SE power supplies. I've never done my own, believe it or not. That SE just keeps plodding along. And I will one day, but, you know, priorities. Joe, super chat. Joe. If you were to give Bunnings an American equivalent, what would it be? Now, who's talking about Bunnings? Is someone talking about Bunnings? Howdy Bruce, I'm considering bench power supply soon. Looking forward to your upcoming review. Excellent. Well, I will be doing it very soon. I may even work on some of that today, the initial unboxing side of things. Okay, see you, Kai, 215. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining. So Bunnings, Lowe's? Is it Lowe's? The hardware store Lowe's? I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. Bunnings is like Lowe's, I think. I love Bunnings. One of my favourite places to be. Bunnings and Dan Murphy's. Dan Murphy's is a large liquor store chain thing. I am actually very conveniently placed. I'm actually quite close to two Bunnings. Now, I'm just going to scroll back because I ask questions and then I often don't know. It's like, oh, Elemeno's here. Hello. I think I've crossed paths with you. Have you ever been involved in amateur radio, ham radio in inner city Sydney? No, I haven't. So possibly not me with that. I tend not to get out to events much at all. I sometimes get to, there's a sort of a very small scale event here with just, you know, a small group of vintage Mac enthusiasts that I sometimes go to. I can't even remember what it's called, Nozfest or something like that, N-O-Z. But on the whole, I really don't get out to much events at all. I just don't have time. But yeah, I don't think that was me. I'm certainly not a ham radio person. Just checking. Michael's Workshop, hello. Wineland. Dana's referring to Dan Murphy's, or what I often refer to. I actually call it alcohol Bunnings, because, you know, Bunnings is it was, you know, when Bunnings arrived in Australia, whenever it was, some years ago, it was a kind of a new concept. The idea of this warehouse-style hardware store. It used to just be little hardware stores, and there were still chains, but there were still quite small stores. And then Bunnings came along and created these warehouse-type hardware stores that were just massive, with huge amounts of stock there, and then you just wander around. You have to look after yourself. There are no real experts. Now, my apologies to any Bunnings staff that are listening. I'm sure there are some of you that really know your stuff, but there are also quite a lot of them that don't know jack. I mean, my brother-in-law used to work for Bunnings, and he is incredibly knowledgeable. But I know there's a lot of them that don't know stuff. Yeah, so anyhow, they created this big warehouse-style concept, and then so when Dan Murphy's came out, which did the same sort of thing for alcohol, just started calling them alcohol Bunnings. But one of the great things about Bunnings is they have like gift vouchers And that's just the best thing when you're buying presents for someone, you don't know what to get them. I'll get him a Bunnings voucher. What do you get him? Oh, I got him a Bunnings voucher. Who doesn't love a Bunnings voucher? Hardware house, BBC Hardware. I remember BBC Hardware. There used to be one near to where I used to live. I look like a psychiatrist was on, a BBS I was on, who had the same first and last name. Same first and last name, come on. There is only one Bruce Rain. That's not entirely true, there are a couple, but there's only one in Australia that I'm aware of. Alright, now that's all the caps on, by the way. This is now recapped. We can now consider this logic board re-capped. So just going to get some of these really gunky chips and just hit them with a bit of iso alcohol to clean up any electrolyte, which might give us a better chance of it actually working. Tradesmen help customers in the store so you get actual answers to hardware inquiry. Yeah, see, that's a very logical thing, Michael's Workshop. It is a very logical thing to hire people like that. Most of the time, there might be some retired tradies at Bunnings here, but most of the time I find the people there are just young people that don't know much. They generally know the layout of the store fairly well, so you can say, oh, where's this? And they can point you to where it is. But having said that, you can do that with an app. You just search for the product and then you go, where is it? And it tells you like, aisle 56, bay 8. Okay. All right, so here we are. Where are we? Here. Here is where we are. We have a recap logic board here. How long have I been going for? An hour and 20 minutes. It's not too bad. We have a recap logic board here. A little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it. We just need that to dry a bit. I've just tried to clear off a little bit of electrolyte, improve our chances of maybe getting this to fire up. This will, of course, get cleaned in the ultrasonic cleaner. I have a couple of ultrasonic cleaners. I have one directly behind me. If we just change here to this view, you can see this is one ultrasonic cleaner right here, and this is a second ultrasonic cleaner here. This is a little 10 litre one, which in actual fact holds about 8 litres, and this is around about 25 litres, this one here. This is one I made myself. This is the one the video is going to come out about soon, and I've got my little Steve Ballmer heads on the fans, because there is nothing I like more than seeing Steve Ballmer's head spin around. It's kind of fun. Let's see if I can get some focus on the Ballmer heads. Oh no, the focus only goes that way. Oh no. Oh, has someone been drinking? I've been drinking. No, hang on. There we go. Oh. Still waiting on that video. I know. The good thing is that I have done a lot of work on it. The bad thing is I just cannot believe what a big undertaking it is. So I'm desperate to get it done. I might even try and get a bit more done on it today. I've got a little bit of pre-recording to do, but yeah. Adam McGee, no, you didn't miss the whole thing because I am still going. Alrighty, now, right, logic board, top view, let's go top view. Top view, logic board, there we go. All recapped, looking pretty good. See what happens. This is the analog board here. Oh, excuse me. I don't have my side view camera anymore, doesn't that suck? So looking at this in here, you just see through here, there's a bunch of capacitors there. They leak, they just always leak. But I'm going to have a look at this analog board from the side, just to see if we have any visible leakage going on here. So I've got 51 people watching at the moment by the looks of this thing here. So hello to everyone who is watching. Thank you very much for joining me at this time. I hope you enjoyed my silly thumbnail. I certainly enjoyed making it. Trapped in a classic. Yes, we haven't seen a live stream from the House of Moth in quite some time, have we? He was really getting into it for a while. Oh, wow. I can already see electrolyte leakage on this analog board. So the logic board wasn't too bad. By the looks of things, the analog board is terrible. Let's get my hand in here. There we go. All right. So let's see what we have here. Let me just zoom out a little bit so we've got a bit more of a view. There we go. That's the better. And we'll take this off. Oh, no, we won't. There's another one of these stupid things in here. I really want to get some more of these. I want to have a big supply of these little clippy things. I don't know where to buy them. I don't even know what to look for when I search for them. Plugs, black plugs. Do a search for that, you end up with something altogether different. Okay, got him out. Right. Come on, off. What? Oh, wow. Check this out. Two. I got a spare. That's interesting. And we've had a spider living in here at some stage. You can just see there's the dead spider. Okay, so we've got, let me just see if I can show this. Auto shop supplies. I've looked, I've found bigger ones. I haven't found those little ones. I'll have another look. I'll try that again. Clipping things works for research. Have to go mow things. Fair enough. Go for it, Dana. We can't mow things here. It's the ground's too wet. We've had a lot of rain overnight. I got two. Yep, that's right. Okay. So my general feeling is we're probably going to have to recap this if we're going to use it. If I just run this along, this is just a Q-tip along here. I mean, look at this. Look at that. Look at that gunk. You know, it is. We are talking about serious leakage. So we're not going to be trying this out just yet. I mean, look. Here's what I could do. Look at that. Look. It does focus, it's just not quick. There we go, look at that. Look at that. So, I did originally say, and I apologise if anyone gets upset, I did say I was just going to try it out regardless, but I didn't realise that this board was so bad. We really cannot run this without fixing it. I could grab another analog board and we could test out the logic board, but in all honesty, that logic board is so pristine, the chances of it not working are incredibly slim. But the chances of this working, even slimmer. This is actually going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner, so I'm going to end up taking this speaker off, and I'll give the whole thing a good old clean. Yeah. What are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do? Right. Screw. So just a reminder to everyone, you know, I've got about 56 people watching at the moment. When I have this quantity of people there and then the chat gets very live and active and busy, I don't necessarily always get a chance to see every single comment. So if you jump on and say hello, or you jump on and ask a question and I don't answer it, please don't take it personally. It's just the way things are when we've got this many people on. So now with this analog board for the Classic, it's obviously, there's a flyback transformer here, here's an anode cap, and here's a very, very important little voltage, danger. This hasn't been fired up in the last 24 hours, hasn't been switched on, so I'm not going to bother discharging it. But, well, I don't need to discharge it, but if you do need to discharge one of these, I do have a video on it. If you go to my channel and you look in featured videos, there's a discharging a CRT, And it involves using a little tool like this, which I describe how to make, and then going in here and discharging it. Not necessary on this one because it hasn't been switched on, and more importantly, these classics are meant to actually have a bleeder resistor, which means they discharge themselves when you switch it off. Now, even with computers with a bleeder resistor, I still generally discharge them if they've only just been used, because I just want to be safe. You never know, bleeder resistor may not work. Now, this is one of the boards where you have to undo this screw here if you want to take the analog board off, because it's all in one piece. The analog board and this little, controllery thingy here, it's all one big thing with wires that are joined without connectors, and I've lost my bloody Torx. Where to put my Torx? I mean, it's so big, how can I lose it? Is it falling on the ground? Come on, man. Oh, piffle. Oh, I've got another one, so I can use this. Don't know where the other one's gone. It's floating around here somewhere. Okay, so undo that. That's a little grounding wire. Do not ever forget to put that back when you put the thing together again. Otherwise, you will have all sorts of interesting things going on. This needs to come off. We need to be super careful. I'm actually planning to create a little 3D printed thing that I can just slot over the top here for when I'm working on these, and just provide some protection for this little glass nipple on the end. That's where they seal it when they suck the air out of it, and you do not want to break that. Got a yoke connector here, just like that. And then we should be able to just pull this out, because I think everything else is unplugged. The only other thing we need to disconnect, I think, is the fan. And that... Come on, there we go. And that just unplugs there. So here is our analog board, or analogy. Put that down, ouchie. Oh, excuse me. Just before I headed out the back door, I heard that comment, Bruce. I was zapped by an SE that had been turned off 24 hours. It hurt a lot. Goodness me. That should not have happened, but, you know, fair enough. Thank you very much, Adam McGee. Donation made in lieu of a super chat of to the House of Moth. Okay. Because super chat, he can't get super chats yet, but he will. All right, so I mentioned before that known problems with these boards is this little cluster of capacitors here. They have leaked. We know they've leaked because they've got their gunk all over the board. So, yeah, it's all down here. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Look at all this gunk. Yummy. So, yeah, this is going to have to get cleaned. And the way I will do that is I will get a drill. I'll drill out these little rivets for the speaker. I'll remove the speaker from the board. I'll then drop it in the ultrasonic cleaner. But we need to get some caps off first. So I'm going to do that. No reefers on... Well, actually, I shouldn't say no reefers. There are reefers. These two here are reefers. But they don't seem to have that same explodey type issue that the paper ones do. So let's get some caps out of here. Now, will my little legs work for this? Do I have any left? I broke heaps of them the other day. I created these little analog board legs like this. I'll put them like that so I can have this sitting up flat. But I was using them the other day and I just kept on snapping them. Very embarrassing. 2 legs ain't enough. I need at least 3 to get this to work. I had some attached. Did I remove them? Yeah, I did. I removed them. Prunes. Oh, I've got a super sticker from Sunny. Hello. Pair character stretching his arm forward, raising his thumb up. Thank you very much for that super chat. I do appreciate it, Sunny. And hello, Sunny, by the way. Can I find a third leg? Excuse me as I put my big fat head in the way. I can't find a third leg. So anyhow, I 3D printed a bunch of these legs like this. They're specifically designed so that I can clip them on the side of the board and hold the things up flat for working on. And my first trial of using them, I managed to break most of them because I haven't made this bottom piece strong enough and they kept on snapping off. So I'm going to redo this without having like a bit coming down there like that, which will give it a bit of a buttress, get a bit more strength out of it. Right, we're going to need to remove some solder here. Let's fire up the machine. That's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. So this is my motorized solder sucker. Allows me to melt the solder and then just suck the solder out. It takes a little while to heat up. We'll probably go over this with the microscope, make sure we haven't got any cracked solder joints anywhere. But yeah, there's just no way that this would work at the moment. We can get the ESR meter out and the multimeter and maybe test some of these capacitors when we pull them off and see just how bad they are. Yeah, so the reason I call it the machine is because when you press the button to do the sucking, it goes And it reminded me of someone who says a lot. Oops. Okay. I don't really have a lot of time to dedicate to my channel. You didn't print those with the layers parallel to the clip, did you? No. So they print this way. So they sit flat on the bed that way, so that I don't need any supports. So that when they print, if I was to print them, say that way, I'm going to need supports there. So I print them that way, and that's why you can see that very distinctive stepping going up. It doesn't actually need to be at an angle there. I don't even know why I did that. I don't know. It just felt like I should have. But yeah, I need to just put a little buttress along there to give it a bit of excessive series resistance. I like that one. Steve has an machine now too, indeed, but he's called his Claris because he reckons it sounds more like a cow going move or a cow dog going move. All right, so let's get rid of some of these caps. We're just going to start whipping these out. I'm going to need my goggles because I'm not using my microscope and my eyes aren't too crash hot. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm happy with the way it's printed. I just need to improve my design. Working on a Classic 2 analog board right now that's still low voltage after recapping. Always fun trying to track down the culprit. Yeah. So, one of the culprits can be QP1 there. I had one where replacing that fixed the low voltage. But they can be a real cow. I've got a second one now, and I can't figure out what the bloody problem is. I have a delivery coming today. May have already come while I've been live streaming for all I know. And it is... need to clean this out. Oh man, that stinks. That so stinks. Really stinks. I have some PCBs coming today from PCB Way in China. Took a little while to arrive this time because of Chinese New Year, but they have arrived. I need to get a new one of these little filters because this one has just fallen apart, and I do have them somewhere. In one of my containers of miscellaneous stuff. Not that one. Not that one. It's got to be one of these three, surely. Yeah, there it is. Oh. The rate at which you go through these is just phenomenal, these little filtery, fluffy things. But I haven't really found anyone that just sells them on their own, which is just stupid. I mean, unless you can get, there you go, this one. Unless you can get, you can use something else for it, maybe. Here we go. So, do that and that. We have an Ender 3X display model interested. Going for 225 RRP 469. Thank you, but no thanks. I already have one. I don't really need two. I don't have room for two. Even if I did need two, I've got nowhere to put two. So thank you. But yeah, no thanks. I'm all good to go with my Ender. I'm thinking of actually doing a video on the Ender 3v2 because I've had it for a while now and encountered a few issues with it. Nothing major, but I just feel like it would be beneficial to help someone else. You know, if they were setting themselves up with one, to say, hey, do these things right from the start and your life will be a lot easier. Ouch, damn capacitor. I may end up just using wick with this because I'm not sure that this solder sucker is doing a particularly good job because of all the gunk. There's just so much gunk. Is that enough? Let's just check the microscope view here. Microscopa. How do you like that gunk? We got ourselves some good gunk here. Oh. An Ender 5 is better than Ender 3. So are you saying you have an Ender 5? Because you said in your comment that you had an Ender 3. So the 5, is the 5 the one with the kind of like dual extruder thing? You can actually run two separate colors at the same time? God, look at this. Look at that. They are not meant to be shiny and green like that. Just not. Shall we do a little capacitance test here and see how we're going? This is meant to be 470 25 volt. Now, of course, that liquid could be from another capacitor. It may not even be from this one. But we'll just see what we've got. Kind of computer do you use to run your stream? Well, this one here I'm currently running on a Mac Mini 2012, I think. 2012 Mac Mini. It is okay. This is still reading 470, so there's a good chance some of this gunk is actually from another capacitor. But never mind. So yeah, it's a i7 2012 Mac Mini. I think it's 2012. It might be 2013. Let me have a look. Late 2012, 2.6 gigahertz Intel Core i7, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD drive, mini. I like it because it sits under the desk, nice and neat. This is so gross. My apologies to anyone who's eating at the moment. This is kind of gross. All this gunk. In a perfect world, what I would actually like to do with this is remove all the caps, ultrasonic clean it, dry it, then put the new caps on. But because I am doing this for the purposes of entertainment, I won't be doing it that way because otherwise the stream would have to stop while I ultrasonically cleaned it. But I prefer to actually put aluminium caps on after ultrasonicking because ultrasonicking does make the aluminium look yucky. Aluminum. I love Scotch too. Ever recapped the Mac 2CI? I did, and now SCSI not work. Well, yes, I have recapped several 2CIs. Did the SCSI work before you recapped and now it doesn't? Because if that is the case, then you've got to go and check over your work there. You've got to look for anything, any damage you might have done, any soldables you might have left floating around somewhere, any traces that might have ended up getting damaged. You know, that's basically what you've got to do. you won't be in a situation where the SCSI doesn't work because of the new caps. The SCSI will not be working because of something else that has happened. Unless, of course, you put one of the caps on back to front. But that's always the first thing to check. I do recommend people check that because it seems fairly obvious, but I get boards that's sent to me where people say, hey, I recapped this and it doesn't work, and I look at it and there's a cap on backwards. It happens. It happens. Just desoldering these old caps. As I say, I'm using solder wick here rather than using a solder sucker of any sort, and that's basically just because it is so dirty, it's so grubby. It means that the solder is not going to get super fluid, and which makes it it doesn't work well with the sucker. A sucker works really well if your solder's in pretty good condition and it just gets all molten and then it just sucks it all away. This has got stuff mixed in with it. It's got electrolyte mixed in with it, so it's become like this cloggy, gooey mess. So it just doesn't work particularly well with solder suckers. Elemento super chat, thank you very much. Replacing the opto isolator did the trick. 12-volt video is good. Need to fix a wine, but much closer. Fix a wine? Oh, wine. Oh yes, that's fine. They have wines. You're most welcome. I'm glad that worked. It's nice to be able to hand out advice and then actually even see the results of it in the same live stream. That's very rewarding. Very pleased to hear that. Okay, let's keep removing caps here because that's what we do in this part of the world. They're all just falling out at the moment. Oh my God, look at that gunk. Gunk. Has everyone smashed the like button? Just checking. I mean, you know, just gently tap it if you don't want to smash it. But caps. I ran out of one particular size of cap. I hope it's not something I need on this board, because I'll be very upset if it is. Here's one. I just want to share with everyone how much this stinks. I mean, it really stinks. It's got a real pong about it. And I just want you all to know how lucky you are to not be here smelling it right now. Right. Now, I will continue recapping this with more caps, but it's my aim at this particular moment is to just try and get it working. So I am going to replace this little cluster of caps, do a little bit of a clean, do a little dance, and then we'll test this out and see if we can get it to work. And then I'll probably come back and do a little bit more work to get it all perfect. I probably will end up selling this if someone is interested. I've had a few people express interest in buying a Classic, so I may end up selling this. We'll see. I may end up putting it on eBay and seeing what is going on in the crazy world of eBay sales. Okay, well, that's smash.
Smash that like button.
Just a reminder to everyone, although that seems incredibly silly to have that smash that like button, it's a little inside joke with sort of my Mac friends. It started off when we were doing a bit of a joke impression of like one of those YouTubers. Hey guys, what's up? You know, this sort of thing. What's up guys? Thanks for joining today. You know, and we were mucking around doing that sort of stuff, and I accidentally removed something that I wasn't meant to remove. Look at that. There. I have to put this back on. It's meant to go here. So yeah, anyhow, we were having a bit of a joke about the kind of that YouTuber sort of style, and my friend Dana, who from Dana Doesn't Do Stuff, he just sort of said, "Smash that like button," and that just cracked me up. I just lost it. So yeah, that's just kind of stayed, and then I started doing smash that like button. And then I made that little video of it, which now gets used all over the place. Might just do a bit of cleaning here. Just going to change to the top view. Sicilian arancini, yeah. So, tell me what's inside a Sicilian arancini. I freaking love arancini. What I'm doing at the moment is just getting it clean enough for us to test it out. This is not going to be enough to properly clean it. Let's see which of these is the biggest leaky offender. That's a good one. That long skinny one's a good one. This is a good one, actually, or is it? There's definitely heaps on this one, and a few dropped on the floor. I should probably grab those. Excuse me. 2200. Let's see what this one says. So this is meant to be a 2200 microfarad. Takes a while for the capacitance measurement on this, but it does do, still does do 2.2. Is it megafarad? So that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, it's terrible, but it's it seems to be reading reasonably close. This one looks shocking. It's this long thin one here which seems to have leaked a lot. I actually like to keep a little supply of capacitors that read really bad. I use them for when I'm testing things. You know, I use them for when I'm testing devices. It's interesting. Most of these capacitors are all testing within their, you know, sort of their spec, but still doesn't mean they're not bad. Dana's here. Were there ravens? Were they? They probably were. I'm just oblivious to their sound these days because they're everywhere. They're the bird that sort of goes. They can often end up sounding like a whining child. Slow to show continuity. Can I just mention to you, Adam McGee, that if you put it on your full auto mode like this smart mode, it takes a while to read continuity because it is, you know, it's having to work out what to actually read. But if you put it into actual continuity mode, I found it to be pretty quick. So certainly in my tests. And of course, the other thing that I do have to mention to people, it's a really important thing. You know, in my test, I do a comparison to a fluke, but really, you can't properly say, oh, look, you know, oh yeah, my fluke's better or something like that. Of course your fluke's better, and the fluke, you know, hundreds of dollars. My fluke, this one here was like $300 and something. That's Australian dollars, you know, we pay more for everything out here. And so, you know, although I do use it as a basis for testing the accuracy of it, you know, if you want to spend $300 or $200 on a multimeter, then yeah, you go for the fluke, you get it, and you'll be happy with it for sure. But you know, there are a lot of people, in particular people that watch my channel, that are looking for budget options. They're looking for budget alternatives, and sort of ultimately with the review that I gave on the Kai Wheats KM601, link in the description if you want to buy one, is that this is a very capable budget multimeter. So Sicilian arancini are pear-shaped, made with arborio rice and filled with a cooked mince with homemade sauce, peas, caramelised onions, mozzarella. Yum. I'll tell you what I would love. I would love to just dip that into some aioli, you know. I mean, yum. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm actually cooking carbonara for dinner tonight and a bit of homemade garlic bread. Now, what we're going to do here, I don't think there is any issue with putting this on one way or the other. This here is just like a coil, and I don't think there's any sort of polarity to that whatsoever. But I will still look at my guide and just see which way it was on originally, just because of the wonderful things he does. Da, 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 da. I don't have a picture of it. Maybe I do. Oh, God, I hope I have a picture of it. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. SE30. There's Mac 2s. I'm sure I've got a picture of the analog board in here. I mean, I would, wouldn't I? Wouldn't I? That's a Color Classic analog board. Another Color Classic analog board. All aboard. Here we go. Classic analog. And yeah, no. It's just going on. $1.80 a litre. Gas is $5.34 US gallon or $1.80 a litre. It's hovering around about 160 Australian dollars, of course, 160 to 180. I drove up to I drove out west yesterday, and I saw it somewhere for like $1.94 or something a litre. Tom Barber, hello. Escaped that Mac Classic from the thumbnail. I'm glad people enjoyed that thumbnail. It is my aim when I make those thumbnails to make them fun. People will enjoy. Right, now I am going to do the little trick that I do here when I'm doing one-handed soldering. I'm holding this component in with my left hand, right? And it's really hard. I don't want to bend the pins, and in actual fact that would be difficult anyway because they're so small. And I want to solder one side in, but I can't hold the solder in one hand and hold the iron in the other and hold the component because I've only got two hands. And I can't really use the helping hand thingies because that's really awkward. So what I do is I put some flux on here like that. Then I grab some solder. I've got to wait for this to heat up. Grab some solder on the tip, and then I just transfer it to the pin using the flux. So the flux makes that solder transfer across onto the pin. So now I can let go and I can solder the other side. And then if needed, go back and do the first side again. There we go. So that was just a little coil, a little inductor that I removed by accident when I was just going here and undoing things and not checking what I was undoing. I managed to not undo that little inductor, but I managed to undo that little inductor. So I might just get a little bit of wick here, just give some of these pads a bit of a rub because they are pretty grubby. So I'll just get some flux here and we might just get some solder as well. Just clean them up a little bit, make them look a little bit nicer. Same as I do on the logic board. You know, when you got things mucked up by all this liquid electrolyte, make these pads look all shiny again. Using a bit of heat, a bit of flux, a bit of fresh solder and a bit of rubbing. Get them all looking nice. And then I'll clean them off with the wick, and they'll be all ready for some new solder and new components. Fume extractor works better when it's close to what you're doing. Like that. Right, now we can just lift all that solder off. Have a lot of ravens, magpies, currawongs, yellow-crested cockatoos, corellas, wattlebirds, Australian miners, and those pesky Indian miners. Yeah. Interestingly, Apple's Anonymous, you may or may not know this, but you've actually misspelt miner for Australian miner. They're actually, for the Australian miner bird, it's spelt M-I-N-E-R. Now, there are two possibilities why it's spelt that way. One possibility is that when they came out here and they started naming birds, they didn't know how to spell miner. That's one. But the other is because the Australian miner has, I think it's a little light circle around its eye. They said it looked like a miner that comes out of a mine with their face black, except for the little white part around their eye where their goggles were. So they were saying they named them miner birds, M-I-N-E-R, because they look like miners with their little bright circles around their eye. One of those two things. But anyhow, so, but yeah, around here we get pretty much the same one. We get the yellow-crested or sulphur-crested cockatoos. So we get the sulphur-crested cockatoos, we get the corellas. We also get a lot of galahs here. I used to get lots of wattlebirds just around here, but they're still in the area, but they're not around my house here. Also got fig birds because I've got a fig tree in the backyard. Get what do you call them? Magpie larks. We get lots and lots of shivers. What are those birds called? I'll keep working while I'm thinking. Masked lapwing. What else? We get a lot of the tawny frogmouth. What else? Oh, willy wagtails, of course. Lots of little willy wagtails in the area. I do like bird life. I like birds hanging around. And of course, in my backyard, there's also chickens. Chickens. Right, well, I think that's all the holes tidied up there. On the bright side of things, this has cleaned up reasonably well. I got one once where it had been left longer and the electrolyte on this side of the board had literally just corroded all of these traces. So much so that some of these, these little pads and that were just lifting off. It was just an absolute mess. But this one's, it's bad, but I've seen worse. So, pretty happy with that. I just named the birds that make a lot of noise. Yes, and of course this time of year you also get all of the cuckoos, like the coel and the channel bill cuckoo. It's their time of year. All right, let's put some caps on. Let's hope I have some. So again, I'm just doing these ones. There are other ones that I will replace later on, but we're just doing these to see if we can get it working. So we have got 50, 16, 10, 25. So 10, 16, 25, 50. 10. Oh, look how far away it is. Far out. How am I going to reach that? 10. Oh, far out. That was nasty. I've got a 1010 and I've got a 2210 and another 2210. So 2210, two of thems, and a 1010, and I got one of them. Cool. So I've got those caps. I'm feeling good about that. Brings joy. Rosellas, of course. I forgot about the old Rosellas. Yes, I mean they're everywhere. Oh, and of course we've got a lot of the Australian ibis as well, the Australian white ibis. Just in the last few years, the numbers of the ibis have just gone through the roof because their natural habitat is being destroyed. Dead. So they're all hanging out here. They have the nickname of bin chicken, which is a little bit mean. I actually think they're a really nice bird. Chickens are doing well, thank you, Scarlett. We've got 6 at the moment, and they're all good layers. And at the moment, they are punching out eggs at a rate that we cannot possibly eat. So I share them with family and friends. But you know, the important thing is to have enough chickens so that you can still get eggs in the winter times. Their laying really slows up in the winter times. So this is why we have 6, because 6 chickens will mean that we will be able to have enough eggs for ourselves in winter. It's a 2200, and here's a 2200. Making sure we get the polarity correct, because these are polarized caps. You will find non-polarized caps out there, things like ceramic caps. They're not polarized. But these ones are. And generally the way I do these is I solder on just one side, like this, and like this. And then I push up from the bottom and I get them flat. Melt that, get it flat. Push it up, melt it, get it flat. Push it up, melt it, get it flat. And then I solder on the other side. And I know that the cap will be nice and flat now. These are all looking quite nice. I'm feeling reasonably optimistic that this might, how optimistic does that sound? This will probably work after putting these caps on. Probably eat about 2 eggs a month, and those are usually in something versus egg by itself. So I freaking love eggs. I mean, eggs are just awesome for me. I mean, this is why we have them. And of course, if you like poached eggs, and I love poached eggs, having your own chickens is the best way to get brilliant poached eggs. When you get store-bought eggs, a lot of the time they're several months old by the time they get to the supermarket shelves. So even though you might be thinking you're buying the freshest eggs there are, because you go, oh, look at the use-by date on this, it's ages away. Look at these eggs are fresh, they just arrived today. They can sometimes be a couple of months old before they actually get onto the shelves. Now, if you get an egg straight from the cloaca and you poach that, the albumin or the white stuff, it's a lot thicker. And so when you drop it into a pan of water, it just holds together. It almost looks like a little ball of mozzarella cheese in the water there. And then it just holds together, and you just get these absolutely magnificent poached eggs. So yeah, if you like poached eggs as much as I do, then fresh eggs are just brilliant, and they just taste better basically. Yeah, so as I said, I'm making carbonara tonight, and of course egg is a very important part of carbonara, because you at the end of cooking, you drop this kind of mixture of Parmesan cheese and raw egg yolk. And you get the pasta, and you drop that in there, and it's the heat of the pasta cooks the egg. It almost becomes like a salty custard sort of thing, and you just get this lovely creamy egg sauce on the pasta that's heated from the. Geez, why this has turned into a cooking show? Sorry, everyone. Okay. I have lots of bird books, by the way, so if anyone ever wants anything validated about some of the birds that I'm talking about, I can always bring the bird book down for the next live stream and go through. If anyone is interested, because we know that everyone who's interested in vintage Macs and soldering and stuff like that loves Australian bird life as well. All right, so that's 10 volt. We're now going to 16 volt. Now I have got 2200 and 1000. So I actually have so many 16 volt caps. I've actually got them in two separate containers. I've got them with the low ones and then the high ones. And this, I need the high ones. Okay. So we need 2200. No, already did that. 2216. Yep. Last one. Last one. Gonna need to buy some more. 2216 and 1016. Yep. 1016. Oh, I've only got these crappy ones. I have to buy some better ones. This will do. These are low SCR. They're, you know, but they're not the best. Just. I'll need to buy some better just ones. So 1000 microfarad, 16 volt. There. And 2216 volt. Checking. Just in case anyone hadn't quite picked this up, I love to cook. I do all the cooking in the house because I love to cook. This is my knife cutting callus just there. So that lump right there, that's the callus I get from my knife skills. Okay, the fat man is giving us food tips. Fat man can give you lots of food tips. Tells you, I'll school you on the cooking. All right, so that is the 16s. Now we have a couple of 25s. Yep, a couple of 25s, so I need to find my 25 volt caps. And they are, I managed to put all of the ones I need today all far away. Crap, can't reach that. If I do that, my fat gut will knock that off. Stay. Oh, this is not going to work. You can go on the floor today, right next to the fire extinguisher. Yes, I do have a fire extinguisher in here. And you would too if you did the things I do in here. Right, 470.25. 470.25. A couple of Nichicons here. $470.25. There's a kind of a tall, skinny 470.25, but they'll still work. Any capacitors that you might be buying when you're doing this sort of stuff, make sure they're rated to 105 volts, not 85. Most caps these days will be 105 volts, but there are still some floating around that are 85. And of course, go for the lowest ESR you can generally too. Doesn't matter for some, does matter for others. There is a video by JDW or James Wages on selecting capacitors, but get your popcorn, it's a long one. I think it's like 75 minutes long, so you've got to be dedicated to the cause. Okay. Just checking, always check as I go about the polarity of these. What? Cool. Just making sure I get them all right. And then a 470 microfarad 50 volt. And I'm sure I have one of them. Here's a 50 volt over here as well. I put all of them here on that side, hardest for me to reach. I put all the ones that I hardly ever access over there. That's just, I'm just a genius. Simple as that. Don't even need the air conditioner on today, it's quite cool. Same size, same capacitance, same or one level higher voltage, lowest DSR you can find and highest temp you can find. You know, Joe, that is I love what you're saying there. I really do. That is exactly how I do it. But I'm sure there would be some people out there going, no, you're not doing it properly. You're not taking into consideration the blah, 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 blah. But yes, I basically follow exactly what you just said then. Simple as that. And obviously when it comes to same size or smaller. So in other words, make sure it fits into the space. I had one where I bought some caps recently and they were too big, way too big. They were too tall for the spot. And I looked at them afterwards and went, oh, you idiot. They weren't cheap either. Right, so in a perfect world, this might actually work. And we are about to find out that. Just get a bit more cleaning going on here. You can generally go up in capacitance a bit in a pinch too. Yeah, I mean, I generally warn people against doing that. You're right. I mean, a lot of the time when these things are made, there are certain tolerances built in where you can. But I would generally, as a rule of thumb, say to people, just stick with the same capacitance. You can go up in voltage, you know, sort of a little bit. You know, if in doubt, I guess the main thing, you know, you've got to remember there are a lot of people out there that are doing this stuff that they're just like, you know, they're not experts at this. They've just got a computer. They want to get it working again. And they're like, hey, what caps can I put in this? And for those people, I generally try and err on the side of caution. I like to err. We all like to err. Just heat up some of this alcohol. It's one of the really good things about cleaning with alcohol. Of course, it has a very, very low evaporation temperature, so it's very easy to then just clear it away. Minus 12C. What? 31 here in Pennsylvania. 31 Fahrenheit. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Hot in Melbourne. 31. Yeah, we're heading for hot later this week. It's supposed to be 36 degrees Celsius on Thursday, which is, I think, high 90s or something like that in Fahrenheit. It's supposed to start warming up tomorrow, but it's been wet, and yesterday I got up to like 26. It's 24 now. I mean, it's beautiful. 24 degrees C. In terms of comfort levels, I mean, it's just, you know, shorts, t-shirt, comfort, no air conditioner, great. It's save electricity weather because you don't need heaters on, you don't need air conditioners on. It's great, it's great. All right, let's put this in and we'll see if we can get this thing to fire up, and then we'll call it a day, I think, at that stage. I might clean some of this gunk. It's disgusting. It's not going to impact it working, but I just want it gone. It looks awful. Standardized temp using Kelvin. Oh, I'd be fine with that. I'd be perfectly fine with that. But do keep in mind that most of the world has already standardized temp with Celsius. There's really only one country holding out. It's a big country, but it's still only one. Goodbye, caps. Okie dokie dokie. Right, so put this back in and we'll see what we see. feel sorry for this poor little Mac Classic. It's never known the touch of a hard drive. So for anyone who missed the beginning of this live stream, and I've got to imagine at this stage there's probably quite a few. We're sitting on about 45 viewers at the moment. This is a Mac Classic that I picked up yesterday. It is mine. I may end up selling it in the long run, but for the moment I bought it for a bit of, sort of live stream content. There was an opportunity to grab it because I was driving through the suburb where this machine was, and so I just made an offer and got it. And I opened it up for the first time. It had never been opened before, fully expecting that we would possibly see a exploded battery and whatnot, but we didn't. Battery was nearly gone. The battery was actually physically distorted, 0 volts, and actually starting to bend out of shape. So we're talking about something that is just moments away from exploding. Took the battery out, but it had not exploded, so that was pretty good. Fair bit of electrolyte leakage from the surface mount electrolytic capacitors. We replaced those caps, it was all good. But the real surprise we found in this one was when we opened it up, it was the non-hard drive model. Which you don't see very often. And just sort of following up what I was mentioning at the very beginning of the stream is that when this computer very first came out, the Mac Classic, it was the very first sub-$1,000 Macintosh that was available to buy. Up until this point, it used to cost you over $1,000 if you wanted a Mac. Quite a lot over $1,000. But you could actually get this, I think it was for $9.95, and that was the base configuration. And the base configuration was 1 megabyte of RAM, might have even been 2, but I'm pretty sure it was 1 megabyte of RAM and no hard drive, only a floppy drive. And this was one of those models, a no hard drive model. And obviously one way I can tell that is because it has no hard drive in it, but the other way I can tell is because the logic board had a terminator attached to it to terminate the SCSI bus. If I can find the thing, because I need to put it back in if we're going to test this. If we're going to install it, actually I suppose I can boot from the ROM, but I'd like it back in place. Oh, here it is. It was just sitting at an angle. So it had one of these little terminators. Terminator. Someone do their Arnie voice. Come on, someone do their Arnie voice. Mit Terminator. Yeah, basically be as usable as a Plus. This is very true. I guess the only difference is there's plenty of room inside and it has an internal SCSI port, so I can actually stick a hard drive in it, which I'm going to do. I'll stick probably a blue SCSI or a SCSI to SD in it. So that's going to go in here. So I can actually have a hard drive in it. I might have a spare bracket, but to be honest, I'll probably just end up 3D printing one. And just, someone will get a Classic with a blue SCSI in it. Because it is my intention to most probably sell this, only because I just don't need any more Classics. I already have, I think, 3. So just putting them all back together again. This is my 3D printed Torx driver that I made. It's not super strong. If you get screws that are really, really tight, I wouldn't use this. It'll probably just snap. But, you know, it's better than nothing. Because my other driver, my good one, is here somewhere, but I can't find it. So, yoke connector connected. One of the things I will do with this a little bit later on is I'll check for any cracked solder joints on these connectors too. We've got the sound in, we've got that. Let's put the board in. And connect up the little umbilical and connect up the floppy drive, even though I'm not even going to test it, but we'll connect it up anyway. It's a good idea to connect up the floppy drive, in particular if you're going to be testing voltage, because the floppy drive and a hard drive as well, if you're going to have that connected, these things draw power. So when you are testing the voltage, you want to test the voltage based on the load that the thing's going to have. So okay, here's the I've been holding onto a classic RAM board for 20 plus years, hopes I'll get one again. I'm sure you'll get a classic one day. I mean, they all have these problems. They all need their analog boards recapped. They all need their logic boards recapped. They all need their batteries replaced. But once you get those things done, you're going to be good to go with these for another 30 plus years. So, you know. Right, I'm going to put my 1 megabyte RAM expansion in. This could be a 4 megabyte, but it doesn't have any extra sims in it. I could always stick some in, but I don't need to for the purpose of this. To be honest, I don't even need to stick the extra one in. For what I'm doing, I can just test with one, but I want it in there. Right, now it's time for testing. Now, do we dare try the side camera? After all the fun and games we had before, I'm tempted. I am tempted for the reveal, for the big reveal, to use the side camera. So I'm going to plug it in. Everything might fall apart, but, you know, we'll recover. We'll recover. So just plugging it in now. Because we did have it working for a little bit there. And, you know, we might get lucky. So let's just try it. Side view. Look at that. Got it. I've got some jerkiness happening. Let me just try this. That's a little bit better. Okay. We're working for the moment, so we'll consider that a plus. Or a classic. Sorry, a little bit of Mac humour there. Well, that was interesting. Okay, here we go. We're back again. Hello. Hello. So we won't be doing that. We did try the side view. So it's been an interesting experiment. So just looking at this from the perspective of whether I can get this to work with 4 cameras, ultimately the answer is no. So that's that. So we're going to be back to doing this. I am going to keep trying with this, okay? So don't give up just yet. I'm going to try a different computer down here, see if I can get it work with 4 cameras. I'll fiddle around maybe with USB ports or something. We'll see. I am determined to get 4 cameras at some stage if I can. So anyhow, everyone who's been waiting for the big reveal, I do apologise for the extra delay there. We're going to just have to use this front camera, pointing down here like this and this and this. So there we go. Cyberdyne. So I've got a cable here, and I've got inside this 240 Australian AC volts. And we're going to try this out and see if we can get it to work. So I'm going to plug them into the power. Now I better get a keyboard so that I can potentially boot into ROM if it starts. See, how optimistic is that? How optimistic is that I'm actually going to plug in the keyboard? That is a guy who is sure this thing is going to work. There we go. Plugged in. All ready to go. All right, drum roll, people. Yep, I think 4 seems to be the magic number of cameras. I don't want to lose the top view camera. I really like having that. I need one pointing at my face because I'm so pretty. Got to have the microscope because that's what I'm doing. You know, you got to see what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do. I've got to figure something out. Right. Okay. We all good? We're all good. Everyone good? Drum roll. We're about to switch it on. Got it all plugged in. Everything's connected. Everything's fine. And we'll just see what happens. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, I got the speaker pop. So we got sort of like that pop from the speaker. But we didn't get a chime. So that's a bad thing. I don't seem to be getting anything from the screen whatsoever. Let me just going to try the old tap it with a toothbrush thing. So this is an interesting one. This is completely dead, which I'm quite surprised about. What we're going to do now, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to take out the RAM expansion. Oh yeah, I didn't even check the voltage, did I? What kind of dumbass does that? This kind. So let's check the voltage. Thank you very much for reminding me, Thomas. I do need that every now and again. I'm pretty new to this stuff. Let's do a voltage check. It's a favorite time of the day for a voltage check. Connecting this one to ground. Finding a piece of metal. I do have a paperclip here somewhere. It's one of the most important tools in the toolkit. Anyone ever wants to know how to check the voltage on these, I do have a video on it. It's only a short video. It's also a bit of an ad for a Kai Wheats multimeter, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pin 6. In we go. Connect him up. Get the old multimeter set to DOI voltage. We'll pop that here, there. Pop it there. And then we'll switch it on. That's not quite 5, is it? So we've definitely got problems with the power supply. We could well be looking at that optocoupler doodly QP1. We could also be looking at other capacitors on this that are gone. But I will do this because if I haven't done it, I haven't done it. I will take out the I'll take out the what do you call that thing? Geez, that's warm. Holy cow, that's hot. This is the RAM expansion. It is as hot can be. Now that's interesting. Okay, we've got a checkerboard. We've got a checkerboard because the voltage is low, right? We're up to 4.5 volts now. When we took the RAM expansion out. So there's a short on this RAM expansion somewhere. Phew. I guess, oh wow. There's a little bit of a mark there. Wow, this is 4 layers, this thing. You wouldn't think a RAM expansion would need to be 4 layers, would you? Okay, so we've definitely got a short. There's a short on this somewhere. All right. Doing our due diligence, I am going to stick another classic board inside here. Just going to disconnect the mains power here. And going to take this board out. And we're just going to try a different logic board. Just because. Tantalum cap fail on the board. Whoopsie. I'm just going to check this one. So this one's not getting hot. Yep, this one's not getting hot. But anyhow, we'll put that aside. We'll grab a known good board. And we'll give that a whirl. Shall we try an unfinished classic reloaded board? How about that? No, it works, so I may as well. Isn't that interesting? A RAM expansion gone. Never had one of those go before. Connect him up to some power. Connect him up to some power. Oops, that's not the right plug. Okay, and checkerboard. Yeah, checkerboard. Okay, so that almost definitely points to that little optocouplery doodly fiddly thing. Now I think I have replacements for those, but I'm not entirely sure that I do. I have chips that I think are the right ones, but I'm not sure that they are the right ones. So we're now going to discharge this CRT because we're going to have to take the analog board off again. So just connecting this up here to a little bit of, geez, that's mangled. A little bit of ground. We'll pop this into here and we go zippity zap. Good, that's out. Nobody died. It was a good day. I can't go on like this, can't see my face. So handsome. Okay. MT RAM. What's MT RAM? Is in the brand? Yes, there is MT RAM on that expansion board. Amazing. Anyhow, I've got lots of spare RAM chips, so I'm really not fussed about that. I mean, if it is one of those chips gone, I'll just replace it. It's what I do. So we will just replace this chip. If that fixes it, then it's great, end of stream, lovely, have a nice day. If it does not fix it, I will probably still have to end the stream anyway because I've got other things that I need to get done today. I've already been going for 2.5 freaking hours. Gosh. So much for me capping my streams at 2 hours in length. Mind you, quite a lot of people watching at the moment. It's still sitting on 48. It's okay to kind of keep going when there are people still there. Only 7 hours to go. No, Steve, no. Not happening. Okay, so should we discharge this big cap here? I'm just going to... I hate discharging caps. It always scares me, even when I know what's about to happen. This guy here, this guy here. Should we discharge it? Or do we just stay away from it? I think I'll just stay away from it. Scares me. Okay, so it's this guy here, QP1. Let me see if I can find the replacements. I don't think I've put them away anywhere yet. They're probably still floating around up here. Nope, not them. Nope, not them. You know, bits and pieces of Apple IIc. Nope, not them. Or them. Where do you suppose I put them? Anyone? I mean, I could have put them away. Because I kind of cleaned the desk this morning and I figured they would have just been there if I hadn't put them away. But they weren't there. So where do you reckon I put them? It is possible I put them away. I mean, you know, I can sometimes do the right thing. And then the flip side is that it could have possibly just fallen down on the floor somewhere and they could just be under something. Now they're dip chips, so they won't be rolled up in something, they'll just be scattered. Oh, man. I wish I had more space. Things would be so much easier if I had more space. What's that? No, that's not it. No. I'm just looking. I'm going quiet because I'm looking. That's MISC. Nope. Not in that one. MISC. Oh. That might be it. Could I have even done a label? I could have. I mean, could I have been so organised that I have actually put these in a container and labelled them? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. No. No, that would be too much to ask. I am so confused now. Sorry, something just fell down. Whoops. Okay, let me just check something here. Oh, I found another one of the leaks. I needed that before. Okay, so I've got those. Huh. I've got another component here. All right, okay, sorry. So no, I haven't found them yet. I'll keep looking. It's all right. You don't need to worry about streaming yet, because I'm still going at this stage. I mean, yes, I will come to draw it to an end soon, but I am actually still streaming at this time. So I'm looking for something with 6 pins. I've got some chips here with, what are they? Oh, that's an Apple chip. Whatever it is. Oh, actually, I know what that is. That's a real-time clock chip. That's right, I remember. All right, so we're still looking. We're not giving up just yet. I've still got a few containers here that might actually have them in it. Oopsie, you're going to fall down, aren't you? Oh, crap. There we go. There we go. Right. Oh, God, the bloody microphone keeps falling out of my pocket, that is. Nope, not there either. Capacitors, these are all my safety caps. Where on earth could it have ended up? I mean, I feel like there's only so many places it can be. I mean, this is like new stuff. I bought, as in only just recently. I'm really starting to get frustrated now. Come on, people will only wait so long. Viewers dropping off like flies while I'm trying to find little opto couple of thingies. Excuse me for a minute. As I mentioned before, there really are only a handful of places they can be. So I feel like I should be able to locate them with just a little bit of logic mind. Didness. They generally come in these long tubes, but I can't remember if these came in long tubes. I've been doing some upgrades and stuff around here, and it's left things in a bit of a mess, even more than usual, because you know, when you're doing upgrades, you've got to move things around, and then stuff gets lost, and everyone gets upset. telling you, if I can't change this thing in this video, they're right in front of me. They're so in front of me. They were absolutely so in front of me that I didn't see them. They were all along. They were right here, and I mean, it's almost like, it feels almost like someone had made them invisible for the last 10 minutes. That's what it feels like to me. But this is them. Hopefully. I'll just take one out and we'll have a little look at it here under the microscope. This is a little guy here. We've got CNY75B. Let's have a look at the original. CNY7G3. Well, the CNY, hang on. CNY75B. Well, I think we just have to assume it's the right one. Anyone game? Yeah, we're game. What are we, men or mouse? Nieces. Mice. I don't know, something like that. All right. Let's just hope it's the right thing. If it's not, well, we'll be no worse off. It won't work, will it? I do need to be careful because there's probably still some charged caps here, and I really don't want to burn myself on one of those. I have done it before. It's unpleasant. It burns, it sparks, it hurts, it's awful. That's just my multimeter. Don't worry. Okay. I think we'll be able to remove that now. Tube. It's a tube, isn't it? A tube. There we go. He'll come out now. There's the old one. Here's the new one. If this does fix it, I'll be very pleased. Well, I'll be pleased. I will be in two minds, actually. Because one computer that I thought this was the problem, I replaced it and it didn't fix it. And that made me think to myself, well, maybe these aren't the right component. If this does fix it on this one, then I know they're the right component, but there's another problem on that other board. See? Swings and roundabouts. All right, that's on. And of course, this board does also desperately needs an ultrasonic clean. There is just so much gunk on it. And that could be the problem. It just could be all this leaked electrolyte all over the board, causing problems. And an ultrasonic might fix it. Anyone who has watched this channel before knows that it should actually just be called Ultrasonic Fixed It. Because I do all of these, recaps and whatever, and it doesn't work at the end, and I say to people, I'll pop it in the ultrasonic cleaner and see what happens, and then you'd see my post on Facebook of it working. Yeah, ultrasonic fixed it. Right. Last try before we call it a day. We do hope this is going to fix it, but if it doesn't, I'll just have to persevere and whatnot. But I will be doing that later on because I have other things that I need to get done today. This is my Sunday, and Sundays are very precious. I do need to go shopping to buy things for tonight's dinner. I'm going to be cooking up. And I do need to try and keep working on my ultrasonic cleaner video. And then I've got my problem recapping video, and I've got a few other ideas in place at the moment. Gonna try a few things here and there, maybe even some new stuff for the channel. Oh, and of course, most importantly, my Beginner's Guide to Soldering Part 3. That is one that is long overdue. I've lost the freaking screw. Come on, man, I've lost the screw. Things just get moved around on the desk, you know, as I move other things. There we go. They start off in one place and then they get moved around. Rudy's Retro Intel. Hello, Rudy. How you doing? I don't know how long you've been here for, but if you've been here for a while, my apologies I didn't see you before, but hello to you. We're wrestling with a Macintosh Classic here, which doesn't want to work. But, nothing unusual there. Get in there. Screw is under the red multimeter lead. Yep, thank you. This is not the one I needed, but thank you though. They were a little bit further along. But that I do need this screw. Sorry, I do need this screw. After just saying I don't need it, I do need it. Yeah. It's starting to go mental. This is what happens when you've been live streaming for 2.5 hours. Your brain starts to go funny. Right, anode cap is in. Ground is connected. Yoke connector is connected. The CRT controller thingy is connected. The speaker is connected. Right, now we just need to connect in the logic board. And connect up this umbilical. And we will connect the floppy as well. And we will also monitor our power output. So we'll connect this up to there. And this up to pin 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My computer just went ding. Right. It's the chat from the Mac guys. Right, so this is the last crack. This is the last attempt for this live stream. That doesn't mean it's the last attempt on this computer. It just means it's the last attempt I'm going to do today on this live stream. So connecting it up to the power. Be careful not to touch anything. Lots of high voltage here. Dead type voltage. Voltage that kills your type voltage. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and... ta-da! Look at that! Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! So, as I said, this is something that is good, but it is also bad. Let's just see what we're getting voltage-wise. And I'll just explain that quickly. I did mention it before, but I'll just explain it now with my brain functioning in a slightly better way. So with 4.5 volts there, which is still a little on the low side, we might have to just increase that a smidge. So I'm just going to switch this off while I do that. I'm about to do something here which is freaking dangerous, and I just want everyone to know that it's dangerous, and I want everyone to know not to do this, but I am going to look at adjusting the voltage on this using a little potentiometer. 2, 5, 5, there we go, 4.99, 4.98, there we go, that'll do, 5.002, I can live with that. Right, okay, so just very quickly, the issue that I have with this working is that what this tells me now is that the fault was that component that I replaced, which is the optocoupler or whatever it is. QR1, I think it is. So that's all good. And I've got a whole stack of new ones here. So if this happens again, I've got the component to replace it. The problem I have is I have another Macintosh Classic which is doing exactly the same thing. I replaced it with one of these and it didn't fix it. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I bought the wrong component. But today I've proven that I bought the right component, and it is simply that that other Classic has another problem, and that I'm going to have to go and sort that out, and I'm not looking forward to that, and that's going to suck, and everything. Yeah, fun. Welcome to my life. Right, let's plug in a keyboard. Let's boot this into ROM, and then we can call it a day. Job well done. Going to try that RAM board? No, definitely not. I am 100% positive that RAM board has got a short on it, and I don't want to touch it. Am I pressing the right key combo? It's Option Command XO. Yes, I am. So there we are, booting into our ROM, which is something you can only do with the Macintosh Classic. It's one of the things we love about the Macintosh Classic, that it actually has an operating system in the ROMs. And we go here and we'll do a little bit of About the Finder. And we have got system 6. I can't see that. Is that 3? 6.03, I think. System 6.03, and then we've got total memory of 1 megabyte of RAM. So there we go. Anyhow, look, that is the most important thing at this stage. We've got this thing working. We've replaced the most problematic leaky caps. I'm now going to chuck this in the ultrasonic cleaner, give it a really good clean, and then I'm going to probably replace a few more caps on it, a few more problem caps. So we'll do that. And then I'm going to play around with the screen geometry, get it looking a little bit better. And this one will be ready for a new home somewhere. As I say, I don't necessarily need it. I have enough of them, but I'm sure someone else out there will get some pleasure. I'll drop a little blue SCSI into it as well. So let me just put all this stuff away, and then I will do a little brief piece to camera. Okay, so that is now 2 Mac Classics, and actually 3 if you include the one that Elemento was working on today. So 3 Mac Classics that were replaced by replacing the QP1, QR1, QP1 I think, QP1 optocoupler on there. So that we know this is a common failing point of the Mac Classic. What do we got? Have you just put a link to that component, have you, Joe? If you have, I thank you. That's very convenient. What is the part number? Yep, okay. Let me grab it, and we'll look at it very quickly under the microscope, and we'll have then as a permanent record. Microscope. This is the original CNY17G-3. That's the original. Having said that, on another Classic that I had, it was completely different numbers. Completely different. The replacement, what I replaced it with today, is this guy here. Can we read it through that? Not easily. This guy here in my tube. Got my tube here. This one is CNY75B. So there we go. So anyone wanting to write that one down for their, if they're playing along at home. And I just picked it up from Digi, what are they called? DigiKey? No, is that right? I've gone blank. Not Mouser, the other one. DigiKey, yeah, that's the one. That's it. All right. Oh, we've gone 3 hours. We've hit 3 hours. I've got lots of likes. I thank you to everyone. I did get quite a few super chats today as well. I appreciate that. As usual, with my little sort of outgoing here, I check a little bit of the any other vintage Macs that use that optocoupler. Couldn't tell you off the top of my. I could tell you the Classic 2, almost definitely. I don't know. I've got a few analog boards here I could go through and check, but I don't think that would make very riveting viewing. Mac 84 is streaming next year. When are we going to get Dana to bloody stream? Come on. Dana does stuff indeed. Yeah, he's got so much stuff to stream, so much stuff to share with the world, and he's not doing it. Oh, and I needed to do this for Jay. I needed to get a bit of spinny bomber head. There we go. Our buddy Steve Ballmer having a bit of a spin. Yay. Just checking to make sure. CNY75 is OOS. What's OOS? Is OOS out of stock? Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, that's a shame. It's maybe because I bought them all. No, actually, I bought them from DigiKey, so it wasn't now. So, thank you, Patrick. Just check this. When you poach your eggs, do you drop them in or use the swirl method? I drop them in. But once again, this is with really fresh eggs. It's not so much of an issue. What I generally do is I crack the egg open into a little like dish, very, very small dish, like the sort of dish that you would serve, I don't know, soy sauce in or something like that. So a little dish like that. So I crack the egg into that and then I just drop that in. Just drop that into the water. So it just falls down. And cook for 3 minutes. Not on a rapid boil, it's just so that it's just lightly bubbling, almost a very gentle simmer. And just for 3 minutes, scoop it out, sit it on a paper towel, and away you go. Okay. My package will be coming to me soon. Big shout out to Rudy. I've got to say, Rudy, thank you so much. Rudy is sending me an Apple IIe. And he's simply doing it because I complained that I don't have an Apple IIe. It's fantastic. So it basically started where I was on the was it retro roundup. I'm as bad with that bloody name as I am with ESR. Vintage retro repair roundup. Yeah, nailed it. I was on that show a couple of weeks ago. Do check out the show, please. If anyone, Joe, whatever, want to put a link into that channel, to the Retro Repair Roundup. I was on there, and there was a picture of someone, I can't even remember the name of the guy, but the guy from Mac Effects, he was giving a Apple IIe in a clear case with the clear keyboard. He was literally giving it to Steve Wozniak. And of course, Steve Wozniak apparently looked overjoyed to get it, and which is he's that sort of guy. I mean, he would love getting something like that. And I actually then just said something along the lines of, is he giving away Apple IIes to anyone else? Because I need one. And then Rudy, the incredibly generous Rudy, said that he would be able to put one together for me from bits and pieces that he had there. He sent me a photo of it, and I am so appreciative, and I'm so looking forward to getting it. I haven't used an Apple IIe since an actual, other than an emulator, since I used to actually have one, as my computer at home, and I am just so overjoyed to be getting one. So thank you, Rudy. You're an absolute champion. I really appreciate it. I'll have to try and find something I can do just as generous for you. That was absolutely fantastic. So anyhow, really looking forward to getting that one. Look, so thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for keeping me company during this time. Sorry it went on a little bit long, but we recapped an analog board, we recapped a logic board, we sort of found some faults. It was there was a lot going on there, so I was very happy with that. So thanks again, guys. I hope to live stream next week. Hope you can join me there. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Smash that like button. And Seacrest out. Bye.